California's Monterey Peninsula is world-renowned for the seaside vibe and legendary golf courses, but in the motorsport world it means just one thing: WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And today, this fabulous facility hosts the title decider in the NTT IndyCar Series, where one of 5 drivers will walk away the champion. But just who will it be? This championship fight is tight. The last one at Belle Isle is won by willpower.
Oh, God.
Scott Dixon chasing his 7th championship.
I don't believe we did that.
Marcus Ericsson wins.
You just won the Indy 500.
I can't believe it. I'm so happy.
Joseph Newgarden within whispering distance of the championship, and that's his 5th win on the season. Scott McLaughlin wins.
Yeah, boys, well done. 33 to the moon. Let's go.
NBC Sports welcomes you to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. And it is a gorgeous California day that greets us as we welcome you to Championship Day in the NTT IndyCar Series, the 17th and final round. Hi folks, Lee Diffie along with a couple of championship-winning drivers, James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell, and this is what the 5 drivers are aiming to do: get their name on the gorgeous Astor Challenge Cup. T-Bell, going to start with you first. This is what all the hard work's about.
It's what it's all about right here. This started in 1909. That predates the first Indy 500. That's how big it is to have your name on this cup. But on Championship Day, I've noticed the air is thick in the paddock. Every sense is heightened. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows will hit today, and there are so many questions, James, that these guys don't have answers to right now. They won't know until this race starts on strategy. So there's a lot on the line.
Still a lot to learn. Obviously a lot for the 5 going for the championship. But honestly, guys, there's a lot for all 26 race teams here. It's been a long, grueling season here in the IndyCar season, and trying to get this West Coast swing out of the way, you really want to go into the offseason with a strong result. It's amazing how much that can lift a team into the offseason and even help you prepare and get that confidence up for the start of next year. It all starts today.
All right, let's get you up to speed with the storylines. The main storylines. There really is only one, right? It's all about the championship, and it's been the closest championship fight across those top 5 in the best part of 20 years. That's why we've been so excited and enjoyed this 2022 season so much. How close is it at the top? Well, the top 3 are blanketed by just 21 points, and the man on the left, Will Power of Team Penske, added an additional point to his advantage yesterday by winning the NTT P1 Pole Award. And by the way, owns the new record for the most poles in the history of IndyCar. So let's walk through and introduce you to the Championship 5. And first up, let's meet Team Penske's 31-year-old American, Joseph Newgarden. This guy can be counted on week in, week out. He is already a 2-time champion and would dearly love to be a 3-time champion. 2022 has been highlighted by 5 wins by the Chevrolet driver. It has been quite the season.
We have a good opportunity to try and capitalize on a 3rd championship together, so we have to maintain that focus that we can get it done.
It's going to be a drag race. Newgarden has done it.
Oh, let's go. Good team. You guys are so good.
Joseph Newgarden is a Long Beach Grand Prix winner. Woo! Newgarden has done it at Road America.
That's worth there. A little redemption and $1 million, bud. That's pretty cool.
Win number 4 in the season. Win number 4 in Iowa.
All right, one down. Check that box.
Big move, Newgarden to the front.
Joseph Newgarden wins at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and that's his 5th win on the season.
Chip, what's the path, Joseph Newgarden, to that win starting 25th?
Pretty difficult today, but you know, I'm excited to be here. It's been a great year in a lot of ways. It's been a really difficult and challenging years in other ways. But you know, as far as Team Penske goes, this is a great weekend for us. We've got 3 great cars. I think there's a lot to be proud of across the entire group. And for me specifically, with Hitachi and Team Chevy, I'm really excited to have a good day. I wish it was up front, but we're starting last, so let's make the most of it. You just never know in IndyCar. You really don't. And so I'm going to try and put my heart and soul out there today, and I know the team will back me as always, and we'll see what we got.
In some ways, with that win or bust mentality, does that almost make the day easier on you?
I think in a lot of ways, I feel really relaxed going into today. You know, this year has been really challenging in a lot of respects. I know we've had quite a bit of wins, but it's just been a hard year, and so to get to this point and, you know, try and wrap up, I feel more calm and content. I'm ready to just go drive, you know, as best I can and represent the team, and let's see what we get out of it.
Tire degradation will be a massive conversation today. They fall off so quickly here at Laguna Seca. Are there plays in the playbook you can take advantage of that starting where you start?
Definitely. I mean, I think if you're looking for the car with the most tires, it's us. We have the most options of anybody. You know, there's a lot we can do, but there's not a clear answer. You know, it's a lot of times it's a little bit of a guess. It's an educated guess. We're gonna, you know, try and be different than everybody. I think that's the only way that we can take advantage of having all those tires is just being different. We've got to be on an alternate sequence, so we're gonna try and mix it up from our competition. Joseph
Newgarden will be fun to watch today. He starts 25th, Diff.
And Marty, good to hear Joseph Newgarden say that I feel quite relaxed today because I know what is at stake. James, he talks about a challenging year. And he describes it this way, win or bust. He's had 5 victories, but no seconds and no thirds. And the year has been highlighted by becoming a new dad.
Yeah, it has been really an up and down year on track and off for Joseph Newgarden. Like you say, 5 wins, and I think today, that interview right now, that's the calmest I think I've seen Joseph Newgarden all season. He had an intensity this year that I've not seen out of him before, and it led him to 5 victories, but it hasn't been enough. The last time we saw a driver with 5 wins or more on a season not leading going into the last race, well, ironically, it was Will Power way back in the early 2010s, but it's crazy for me to think that 5 races that he's won and he's still not leading the points going into this last round.
But it's that intensity, James, that led to a massive mistake in qualifying yesterday. The reason Joseph is starting so far back is he took a huge risk in the corkscrew early on in qualifying, spun the car, got stuck, brought out the red flag, and it all went south. Let's take a look at that issue. Watch driver's left here. He's going to hit a big yellow steel pyramid there. You hear it bang the race car, goes backwards 100 feet lower down the hill in the corkscrew and gets stuck right there, and that eliminated any chance for Joseph Newgarden to advance. So I think the reason he's calm is if he's not, he's going to be so angry still, and he can't be angry at the start of this race. He can't swing the bat any harder, Div.
That was one of the more unusual incidents we've seen in the world-famous corkscrew. So let's see if Joseph can overcome that today on his way to try and become a 3-time NTT IndyCar Series champion. When we come back, we're going to meet some of the other contenders like Newgarden's Penske teammate Scott McLaughlin and Chip Ganassi's one of 2 Chip Ganassi representatives. That is Marcus Ericsson, the Indy 500 winner. That's next. You're watching IndyCar Live on NBC Sports, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
I'ma go and get some more, I ain't had enough. Till them numbers on the board start to add up. I'ma go harder than most, I'ma go harder than most. Please, my trophy room, I got space. When victories, they away. Talking tough, it don't faze me. I'm only here for the take and tell them, look, I'ma go and get some more, I ain't had enough. I'ma go harder than most.
You know, drivers come to the NTT IndyCar Series from all walks within the motorsport life. Nobody has had this career path other than the 3-time Aussie Supercar champion, Scott McLaughlin of Team Penske. He is number 3 in the car. He likes to call his crew the Thirsty Threes, and there seems to be a lot of 3s on that graphic. 3 wins this year, 3 pole positions from 33 starts in just his 2nd full season. This guy is the real deal, and the rest of the paddock certainly know that, and that's why he's one of the 5 championship contenders. He's now talking with Kevin Lee.
Lee, it has been a very impressive season for Scott McLaughlin this year. 3 wins, 3 poles, 2nd year in IndyCar. Today, though, what's the focus? Trying to finish 2nd in the championship or make sure someone from Team Penske wins that title?
Look, ultimately, it's someone from Team Penske's got to win this championship, you know, and that's the aim of the game. But we'll do what we can to, you know, obviously I'd love to win it. Joseph would love to win it. Will would love to win it. But we'll do what we need to do for the captain to bring home that championship, because I think it's been a great year. Our team's worked very hard for this, and together with Expel, you know, Hitachi, and Verizon, I think it'd be an awesome, you know, feather in the cap if we got it done.
And there still is a scenario where you can win the championship, but your teammate's starting on pole. What are the chances that we see you kind of doing what Scott Dixon does?
Yeah, look, it's probably a high chance, but at the same time, I've got to protect, you know, I want to be top 5 in the championship, and I want to be top 5 and maybe top 3. You know, ultimately, we also would love to be 1, 2, 3 in the championship. So we'll do what we need to do to make sure that we pick the right strategy at the right time. And if we end up in the lead, that's ultimately an amazing spot as well.
How much are you already looking towards a championship run for next year?
Look, I've just got to. I'm not going to come out and say, oh, we're going to win a championship or whatever. But I know if we carry these momentum, we're going to be there or thereabouts. I've learned a ton this year. Really proud of everyone in the Expel Chevy. The car has been phenomenal. I've worked really well with Ben, my team. Thirsty Threes. It's well known now. Everyone's about us and enjoying it. And you know, hopefully we'll be there or thereabouts next year. But it won't be without a lack of trying.
It's been fun to watch. Good luck today. What a season, Diff, it's been for Scott McLaughlin.
Kevin, you are so true. It has been a remarkable season. I mean, fellas, he could have stopped in Australia at 3 Aussie Supercar titles. He comes here for a second career. How do you grade his second season?
A+, exceptional. And I think that's what you have to remember about Scott McLaughlin. He did not come into IndyCar by way of the ladder system. He didn't come up through Indy Lights. He didn't know any of these racetracks. He had no experience with this level of open wheel race car. And look at how he's performing. Nobody has scored more points in the last 6 races than Scott McLaughlin. He's not ready for any grand proclamations. I am. He's the guy I'm picking for the 2023 championship. He's coming on very strong.
Yeah, you know, you talk in sports about a sophomore slump. Well, I can't think of anything further off from what Scott McLaughlin's done in his second season in this series. And like you say, Townsend, it's his second season in Formula cars. You're going against the likes of Joseph Newgarden and Will Power in your own team. You've won more races than Will Power. Only Joseph Newgarden's won more in the whole championship. It's an incredible performance, and we talk about having that good result to carry the momentum into the offseason. Well, as you said, Townsend, the last 5 races, no one's done a better job than Scott McLaughlin. He seals the deal here with a good result. That carries so much momentum for those Thirsty Threes into 2023, and I'm with you, man. It's a tough bet against Scott McLaughlin next year.
All right, let's keep going through these title contenders. Time to meet the next one. He drives the number 8 Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing, that Husky chocolate Honda, and this Memorial Day, this past month of May, is a time in Marcus Ericsson's life he'll never, ever forget.
This is your day. You got a good race car here, buddy.
This is the Indianapolis 500. Swedish driver on Swedish driver. Ericsson to the inside. And O'Ward is on the attack.
Inside.
Ericsson won't let it happen.
Clear.
It's a Swedish snake on the backstretch. Marcus Ericsson wins the Indianapolis 500.
So proud of you, man.
So we talk about these drivers from abroad and how they made it to the NTT IndyCar Series. This 32-year-old Swede came here via Formula One, and he had a reasonable career there. He is having a stellar IndyCar career and has already racked up 62 starts, 3 wins, including, of course, the Indianapolis 500 of 2022. He's talking with Dylan Welsh.
Well, it's hard to consider this season anything but a success for Marcus Ericsson after an Indianapolis 500 win and now the opportunity to compete for an IndyCar championship. So all that in mind, it's been a good year for you. Is it the dream year for you with an opportunity now to kind of complete the sweep and get an Indy win and also possibly a championship here?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic year for us, you know, as a team and on the 8 car, and obviously the 500 is the big highlight, but it's been fun to be in the mix for the championship all year as well, and we go into this final race and we have a shot at it. It's a bit of a long shot, but this race is going to be so interesting, I think, with the way the tires behave, the way the track grip is so low, so I still believe we have a shot at it. We're going to go out there and try and win the race, and then we see what other people are up to, but I definitely feel like it's been an amazing year, and I'm looking forward to going out on a high this afternoon.
You and your engineer Brad Goldberg both mentioned that you maybe can save tires as well as anybody else in this field, so how disciplined will you have to be today in sticking with that mindset just to get yourself where you need to at the end of this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the key today, tire management, and it's something I learned a lot over my years in F1, and I think I have an edge over the other people in this field on tire management, so I better take that to use that today to my advantage, because it's going to be a lot about it, I think.
All right, this championship battle is Team Penske versus Team Chip Ganassi Racing. How will you and Scott, your teammate, work together to get a championship for the team, but also be selfish enough to kind of go after it yourself if the opportunity presents itself?
Yeah, we need to do our own races and try and finish as high up as possible, and then we see in the end how things shake out. But I think in IndyCar it's very hard to sort of drive as a team. I think we need to maximize the result and try and finish 1-2, and then hopefully that will be enough.
All right, anything's possible today. Marcus Ericsson 4th in points, but rolls off from 9th on the grid.
Dylan, thanks so much. And I think the important thing to remember is that for the sneaky Swede, as we like to call him, Hinch, this is the second consecutive year that Marcus Ericsson has been a title contender.
You know, it's so funny. I was his teammate his rookie year in the IndyCar series, and the growth out of this driver over those 4 seasons has been incredible. He's found a great home in Chip Ganassi Racing. You look at the first half of the season, guys, he was the most consistent driver, not just on the team, but in the entire series. Mid-season slump, look, the Chip Ganassi Racing squad hasn't had the overall pace that they had last year, certainly not the pace that Penske's shown this year. So I think, obviously, the Indy 500 win counts for this, but overall, I think he can be very, very proud of the season he's put together.
I'm just getting a little tired of talking about Ericsson's consistency and how solid he is. I think he needs to step up and do something big today. This is about winning.
Yep.
Last 6 races, his best finish has been 6th. That's how he's gotten to be a championship contender, but to pull it off today, he needs to go big. I'm looking for Ericsson to step out of that shell of consistency and really hit it hard.
Drive like he did on the closing laps at the Indy 500.
You bet it.
We never seen him drive like that before. We'll see what the Husky Chocolate Man can do today. Hey, this past week, during National Suicide Prevention Week, American Legion continued to make a profound effort to be the one to ask veterans, how are they doing? Be the one to listen when you're a veteran and the veteran needs to talk, and be the one to reach out when a veteran is struggling. Learn more at www.betheone.org. If you want to talk about winning championships in this current group of drivers, nobody knows better how to win more than Scott Dixon. We'll talk to him next. On the beautiful Monterey Peninsula, just down the road from Pebble Beach, it is championship day in the NTT IndyCar Series, and astonishingly, for the 17th consecutive year, the championship will be decided on the final occasion.
I want to compete at the highest level and be the best at it.
Feeling very fortunate to be in this position again. We're a long shot, but we're a shot.
We're in the business of winning.
To be a champion, you need to be the best when it matters the most.
This really is a heavyweight international fight to be crowned the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series champion. There's one American, there's one Australian, there's one Swede, and there are 2 New Zealanders, headlined by the one and only 6-time champion Scott Dixon. He's speaking with Dylan Welsh.
And Diff, championship number 7 is certainly within grasp once again for Scott Dixon. This season has been an interesting one for you. You guys have scratched and clawed and been scrappy just to get to this point. Does this championship fight feel any different than any of the previous 6?
They're all very different. You know, I think when you look back on them, and especially when you can dissect them, there's clear moments where you have to be in that position. But consistency is always key. Truthfully, the championship would look a lot different had we, even had a top 3 at the Indy 500. I think it would have almost been over. So, those are the frustrating parts of any year, that you have the ups and downs. But, kudos to everybody on the PNC Bank number 9 and Honda and everybody to get us to this point. We're still in the fight. That's all that you can hope for. And I know this team is never going to give up, and that's the main thing. So it's going to be an interesting day, man. A lot of different strategies. The deg's going to be high. The temperature's going to be a lot hotter than what we've had. So it's still anything is possible.
So you qualified outside the top 12 for the 6th time in the last 7 races, but I know that's not all bad. Sometimes there's a positive that you get an extra set of tires because of that. So will that be a bigger advantage today, given what's at stake and how bad the deg is?
Yeah, definitely frustrating. I think many of those times, we've clearly had a car that would have converted. It's just circumstance and position maybe that I put myself in yesterday with not giving enough room. So it's those are hard to swallow. Does it allow you to have more options? For sure. I think kind of starting in this position and having the tire allotment that we do now may, determine how the race goes, as it did for Portland for us, So, well, again, we know some areas that we've really got to work on as a group and as a team across the board, especially for next year. And our road course package is definitely a bit of a struggle to extract the time, but, our race pace is really good. So we'll see where that goes in the off season, but it's all about today, man.
Yep, Scott Dixon going to roll from 13th today. It's the 12th time in 22 seasons as an IndyCar driver he's competing in the last race for a shot at the championship, and it'd be historic number 7 if he could get it done today.
And there's his old crew chief, Blair Julian, just wishing him luck. Blair's been a part of all of those other championships. And speaking of titles, this is what Scott Dixon is trying to do. He's trying to be a 7-time champ and join some of the most famous names in sport. Tom Brady faces the Cowboys tonight. He's a 7-time Super Bowl champ. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time F1 champ. The King, Richard Petty, the late Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmy Johnson as all 7-time Cup Series champions. Wouldn't it be something if Dixon's name was on that illustrious list? We will see. There is so much to play for. So, Townsend, I'm going to ask you first. Does he do it today? Does he become a 7-time champ and equal AJ Foyt?
Nobody's better at pulling off what Scott Dixon has in front of him today. You can see that little twinkle in his eye. He has more experience in this situation by far than any other driver in the field. Look at this guy. He's basking in the sun. He knows in front of him is 95 laps of potential chaos with the tire degradation, the temperatures, and when things get chaotic, Scott Dixon can navigate the carnage, navigate the challenge better than anybody. You'll see he starts 13th. Nobody's passed more cars since the start of the races this season than Scott Dixon. He knows how to get it done, James.
Well, it's not just him. It's the entire 9 crew, and it's not just this year, guys. They've been together for so long, 20 years running at Chip Ganassi Racing. A lot of the crew still part of that organization, and when you look back at what they've had to do, I think back to 2015, it was a must-win situation for Scott Dixon. He pulls it off and wins it on a tiebreaker. As you say, not just Scott Dixon, the driver, the 9 crew as a unit knows how to execute on these kind of days.
So we have walked you through and introduced you to 4 of the 5 title contenders. There is the man who is in control of this championship. It's Team Penske's Will Power, the driver of the Verizon 5G Chevy. He took control of this championship before he'd even won a race this year. So it's appropriate he's here in front on the final day.
Ain't no pressure, I could never choke. You do what you can, I do what I want. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast, but I gotta tell the truth, I'm the GOAT.
So we are very spoiled here at the head of the grid. Joining Hinch and Townsend and myself is the man himself, Will Power. So I guess the big question is, everybody wants to know, how are you feeling? We've spoken about various levels of tension across the Championship 5, and are you ready to become a 2-time champ?
Yeah, definitely going to give it my absolute best today, starting from the best position, feeling the same as I always do before a race. Obviously this one's a big one, but tyre deg's going to play a huge part in this race, and we'll just have to kind of react on the other 2 guys that are trying to get us here and see where we end up.
Hey, Will, to win any race in the IndyCar Series, you got to stay out of trouble in the first corner. To win a championship today, you have to stay out of trouble down in turn 2. Behind you, you've got Rossi and Grosjean, 2 of the most dramatic drivers we've seen all season going at it. How concerned are you about what's behind you at the start?
Yeah, that's why it's real key to get a great jump. So that's what I'll be aiming for. It's just watching the previous couple of years of starts. You know, the second place guy can dive in there. He'll probably have a go at you on the outside, but the inside looks pretty good. So that'll be my plan, and adjust accordingly if something changes.
Well, Will, you find yourself in a great position. Last race, fighting for the championship. You've been here before. You've had it break your way. You've had it go against you. So how much does your experience in championship deciding races come into play today?
Yeah, I mean, look, you just got to focus on what you can control. There's nothing else you can do. I mean, you can't be thinking of anyone else but yourself. Let the boys on the stand call the strategy and do your job. That's it.
Long way from Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia, isn't it?
It is. And sometimes I think that, the old days sewing in the old canvas factory. So it's, look, it's a privilege to be in the position to fight for a championship, and I'm going to make the absolute most of it.
Just to remind the viewers that yesterday this man won his 68th career pole position. He surpassed the legend Mario Andretti. Mario is here on location this weekend and congratulated Will on that accomplishment. So the weekend got off to a great start. Go get him today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Good luck, Will. There he is, Will Power, ready to win a second title. He boasts a 21-point advantage over Joseph Newgarden and Scott Dixon. And we could not be in a more beautiful location on Championship Day. Now, while we're surrounded by all of these beautiful scenics, this track is tough. This is not going to be an easy day at the office, but there will be a champion crowned today.
Race fans, grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on the screen now for a chance to win $25,000 from Hy-Vee. Scan the code and register at HyVeeDeals.com for your chance to take home the big prize. What a gorgeous day on the Monterey Peninsula for a championship afternoon here for the NTT IndyCar Series. 5 drivers with a shot to make it happen here this afternoon. A little bit warmer day than most teams thought, but let's get the pre-race ceremonies going here on Championship Sunday.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Defense Language Institute Language Center Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Race fans, once again, our nation commemorates another year since the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the United States of America. This day, 21 years ago, nearly 3,000 lives were lost at the World Trade Center in New York City, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and in the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. As our nation mourns, we also honor the many heroes who bravely stepped forward to support the response and recovery effort in the hours, days, weeks, and months that followed. Many are now members of the AMR IndyCar Series safety team and IMS production engineering staff, and they are here with us today. Their inspiring acts and selfless dedication are inspirational reminders of our nation's courage and strength. Please join us for a moment of silence as we commemorate a tragic day in our nation's history 21 years ago and recognize the courage and sacrifices of our first responders. Thank you. Please remain standing as Chaplain Chuck Lessick of IndyCar Ministries offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Lord God, as we remember the tragic events of September 11th, we ask you to be with us and be our comforter and healer. Lord, as we look around this majestic countryside, we just thank you and acknowledge you for being our creator and sustainer. And as we get ready to go IndyCar racing today, we ask you to be our protector and provider. And we're so thankful for your love, and we can pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
For 5 drivers, almost 4,000 miles of racing over 28 weeks in 12 states and 2 countries. All comes down to the next 2 hours. Time to race for an IndyCar championship next on NBC.
Monterey, California, home to the prestigious Pebble Beach Golf Course. But a short 17-mile drive away is one of the most historic tracks on the IndyCar calendar, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, where legendary names from the past have gone on to claim title victories. Today, the final round in the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series sees 5 drivers set for the same fight. 2 are looking for their first championship. Scott McLaughlin, a multi-time champion from Australian Supercars, and Marcus Ericsson, who won this year's Indianapolis 500.
He just won the Indy 500.
Scott Dixon looking to claim a record-tying 7th series title, while Joseph Newgarden, the sole American, is after his 3rd. And Will Power leading this group, and he's chasing his 2nd. Only 212 miles remain on the road to the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series Championship. On the beautiful Monterey Peninsula, it is Championship Day as NBC Sports welcomes you to round 17 of 17. It's the final occasion for 2022, and here in California, it's the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey at WeatherTech Raceway. Laguna Seca could not be a more picturesque setting to crown a champion for this season. Welcome, folks. Lee Diffie along with James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell. Townsend, going to start with you first with the point scenario. 5 still mathematically in it, 3 more realistically.
Yeah, but you have to look at where some of these contenders are starting. Second there, Joseph Newgarden. 5 race wins this season, 21 points back, but starting last in the race today. How about Scott Dixon, 6-time champion? 3rd in the championship, starts mid-pack there in 13th. So a lot to watch here as strategies play out. But for Will Power, James, it's all happiness up front, starting on pole again.
Yeah, you got to think coming into today, he could breathe a little bit easier with how qualifying went yesterday. None of the other championship contenders even in the Firestone Fast 6. So he's got some breathing room. He's got that extra pole position, but he still has guys like this, his teammate Joseph Newgarden starting right at the back with all sorts of tire options. The strategies with tires today are going to be so important to keep track of.
Now, while we have been talking for the last 2.5 days all about the championship contenders and the title fight, there's one interesting little twist in this after qualifying yesterday, and that is the smallest team in the NTT IndyCar Series and its driver, Callum Ilott, qualified on the front row for the championship finale. This is a terrific story.
Easily the best career start for the rookie Callum Ilott out of England. This small one-car team, Juncos Hollinger, has done a great job all season, but really peaking at the right time. He's never finished in the top 5. He's never started in the front of an IndyCar race, and he starts next to the championship leader.
He's got nothing to lose. Will Power has lots to lose. I'm looking for a big aggressive move from Callum Ilott in turn 1.
It's been 2 years since this guy started on a front row in any form of motorsport. All right, let's hit pit road. We kick it off with Dylan Welsh.
Diff, Scott Dixon has 2 goals every year he competes in the IndyCar Series: win the Indianapolis 500 and win the IndyCar Championship. He had the first one within his grasp this year and it slipped through his fingers. Today, he tries to check off the second one.
We set 2 goals every year. Firstly, win the Indianapolis 500, which, luckily our team did and Marcus did. And secondly, to go on and win the championship, So it is a goal that's what we're based on. That's what we're fighting for. So, to be in it and, being in it a few different versions of how that is, whether you're the chaser or the leader or whatever it is. I know Will's probably got a little more pressure on his shoulders, which I've been in that situation, and you're just hoping that you don't have, those small things that take you out, whether it's a mechanical or, a silly spin that you make or a mistake. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be fun, man. It's always much more fun, I think, on the chaser side.
The 9 team has gained 96 positions on track this year. That's why they're in the hunt today. They'll need to dig deep one more race, Kevin Lee, to wrap this one up.
Dylan, this is the 5th time that Will Power has entered the finale with a championship lead, all by double digits. He's only won the title 1 time. That was the last time he was in this position in 2014, and he says it's a very different feel in the lead up to the championship.
I remember my first championship, it was just, excruciating. Not sleeping, the stress. This one is just enjoying the craft and feeling very fortunate to be in this position again. You're given a car every week that has a chance to win or a chance to get pole, and if you do everything right, a chance to win a championship.
Now, most of us still think Will is pretty wound up this weekend, so are we buying it? Certainly winning the pole yesterday helped. To Marty Snyder.
Kevin, the guys mentioned it in the booth. Look how far back you have to come to find Joseph Newgarden on the grid. He will be on the last row today, but starting 25th does not change 1 ounce of his determination.
If I'm not determined, I don't know why I'm doing this. It kind of stems from my competitiveness. I'm so competitive in everything that I do, and I hold myself to the highest standard, and I think within that comes determination. You want to see something through from start to finish. And yeah, it must come from the competitive side. You know, that's what brings everything out of me.
A lot of competition ahead for Josef Newgarden today, and one of only 8 cars diff in the field starting on primary tires. Tim Cindric told me earlier today, hey, we've got to try something. We've got to go out of the box with our strategy. Otherwise, there's no way we could get from 25th to the win, and they know they need a win to win this championship.
And I just think back to the pre-race show, what he said to you, Marty, about him feeling somewhat relaxed, given that he knows he has a big workload, but with a single focus, and that is trying to win this Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. This 2022 NTT IndyCar Series kicked off on the 27th of February. That seems like a long time ago when we were first told to fire the engines up and race around the streets of beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. We're ending in an equally beautiful location here in Monterey, California, ready to get things going. The task today in 82-degree temperature is 95 laps of the legendary WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. So let's go trackside and get this thing started.
It's time to give the command for the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, Canadian-American Olympic bobsled champion, Kaylee Humphreys.
Drivers, start your engines!
Kaylee was a rock star earlier this year at the Olympic Winter Games in Beijing, winning the first ever women's monobob competition and giving Team USA gold. So, Honda track preview time, and time to have a little fun.
Somebody push my door, please. Who has the key? I'm already disappointed. Can I shift? Fourth gear, fourth gear, fourth gear. Oh, sorry. Ah, you missed it. Technique. Oh, what does this do? I don't think it's raining. That was terrifying. That's the last time I'd ever have you as a passenger. You're the worst. Where's the puke bag? Ugh.
Hey, way too fast. Way too fast. I gotta go. I'm in the zone. Foot on the gas. Foot on the gas. Yeah, yeah. I go beast mode. All around the world like Eco. I go crazy like CeeLo. Can't stop me like Chico's.
WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is the location for the championship finale, and let's join our James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell for a little bit of fun with the Honda track preview. Let's go for a ride.
Well, hey guys, we normally do the Honda track preview with an onboard from one of the cars on the track, but Townsend, we got a Honda Civic Type R pace car, and we're gonna go take a look at this place. Start of the race, always chaos down here in the Andretti hairpin, everybody filing in. It can go too wide here though. Get into that apex, brother, get in there, get in there. IndyCar line, IndyCar line. One of the most iconic corners in motorsports, over 110 feet of elevation drop. Blind corkscrew entry. Heavy on the brakes, little ease off on the heave, and then lay into the brake pedal heavy, turn in, pick up the tree, crack the throttle. Come on, James, send it. There we go. Nice. And that is a lap around Laguna Seca.
Been waiting all year for you guys to do that. I've only been able to hold down chicken noodle soup the last 48 hours.
It's not my fault you're a bad passenger.
So let's get you to the Firestone starting grid, and in a record-setting 68th time, Will Power is on the pole position. There is nobody better in the history of IndyCar qualifying than the man from Australia.
Well, talk about drama road 2, Rossi, Grosjean. These guys have seen fireworks. Their teammates just for this last race. Rossi moving on, but championship contenders, look at Dixon down there in row 7. He's got a long way to get to the front.
You got Rookie of the Year competitor Christian Lundgaard leads the chase now, but David Maluka starting up in P6 has a good run on him here, and Colton Herta back-to-back poles, back-to-back wins here. He didn't repeat the pole. Can he make a comeback in the race?
And Dick, we've talked about Newgarden all the way back there in row 13. You got to think Team Penske's going to roll the dice with the 2 car. He starts next to Simona Di Silvestro on a part-time schedule, only female in the race. But this guy, Newgarden, has to do something to make the magic happen today.
He sure does. He knows that. And how is it going to play out for the Championship 5? That's going to be the story we follow all day long. And this is just such an unfamiliar starting position for Joseph Newgarden of Team Penske. But up front, let's celebrate the moment of the championship leader being on the pole and Callum Ilott, the 23-year-old British driver for Hunko's Hollinger in that green and white and black car. They're expanding to a 2-car operation next year, but it's been Callum all alone ever since Portland last year. They've just crossed over the 1-year mark as a full-time IndyCar team, and they're ending on a high. Well done.
And it'll be such a relief for Callum Ilott to start an IndyCar race with clean air on the nose of his race car. These cars are so sensitive to downforce, and those front wings need clean air to work, so it's going to be fascinating to see what happens in the first corner.
I'm excited to see how Will starts this field. If I'm starting where he is in the condition and situation he's in, I want to go early, Townsend. I want to spread that field out, try to have as much room behind me going into turn 1.
He's been known to jump early. He's been known to go late. What's it going to be, Diff? They're coming to the green.
He told us at the line that he needs to get a good jump. That red and black Verizon car is the championship leader on championship day here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Let's finish this 22 championship off. Ericsson jumped out of line. Power gets a good clean start in the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Rossi on the inside in that pink and blue machine.
David Malukas 3 wide now. Pato Award on the inside of Alexander Rossi. Look at madness behind. Looks like Elio Castroneves off. Felix Rosenquist dropping wheels into 3. Will leads.
Clean start to the pole man and the championship leader. So objective achieved on the opening lap. Now he wants to lead that first lap to get another bonus championship point.
Watching to see who's really going for it here in the first corner. Will Power leads to turn 5, and Rossi followed by O'Ward. So Callum Ilott, the rookie, has fallen back a couple places to 4th in that green and white car, and they are side by side further back.
Simon Pagenaud tried to make a move on Scott McLaughlin into 5. It didn't work. That allowed Alex Palou to go up, and now Devlin DiFrancesco knocks Rinus VeeKay wide in turn 6.
Was VeeKay able to get back on track? That's the question that needs to be answered. Side by side, Rosenquist and Pagenaud.
That's red tires on Pagenaud, the primary black tires on Felix Rosenquist. A little hip check there from Pagenaud, pushes Felix wide. Marcus Ericsson slips through as well.
It's just not working for Rosenquist on these opening laps to have gone with the harder black tire. He's struggling to get temperature. It'll sort itself out in a lap or 2, but he's losing spots early on.
End of the first flying lap. That is led by Will Power. Grabs another championship point. How about Scott Dixon? Where did he move? Did he move anywhere from his 13th starting spot? No, he didn't. Steady there. That's Christian Lundgaard on the inside, the leader of the Rookie of the Year championship, but will it be that way at the end of 95 laps?
DiFrancesco, that's his teammate Colton Herta in the black and yellow car. DiFrancesco trying to defend it. Colton Herta forcing his way through.
Colton really needs to make some moves right now. Made a small mistake in qualifying as again Pagenaud looks at the inside of turn 5 on Alex Palou. Not going to make that one work. Marcus Ericsson trying.
All these drivers, James, on red tires are trying to make it happen early, because very soon here, with the track temperature already at 112 and rising quickly, those red tires are really going to start to degrade quickly.
It's such a difficult balance right now, Townsend, because you want to make the best of those tires when they're new, try to make some track position up at the start when everyone's close together, but we do have to take care of these Firestone reds. You got to nurse them. You can't just push 10/10s for the whole stint. You got to take care of them.
Let's watch Rinus VeeKay at turn 6. You're looking at the orange car here.
And I don't think DiFrancesco hit VeeKay. I just think he surprised VeeKay on turn in there. It's a very fast corner in turn 6, less than 90 degrees. And I think when VeeKay turned in, he just got surprised and had to avoid and ran out of road at the exit.
No surprise to see Joseph Newgarden second in the championship, moving up 5 positions on the opening lap. So he's making good progress. Here he is.
And you see him on those primary Firestones, the black sidewalls, a little bit harder tire, not as quick in overall lap time, but it lasts longer. It does not degrade as much. So the strategy from the 2-car, Townsend, I think what it's going to be, run as long as you can in this first stint on the primaries, come in and put on those reds, clean track, fast laps, and make up some track position.
Yeah, Marty, I think Newgarden's going to probably run to lap 28, 29 if he can, while everybody else on reds will pit early.
I think that's the theory for Tim Cindric. You know, we got to do something different than everybody else. There's a lot in the playbook today, so they might run long, Townsend. You could be correct, but what would be the advantage, Townsend, as another pass happens there for Joseph Newgarden around Kyle Kirkwood for the 19th spot right now? What would be the advantage of a 4-stop race, and what would be the advantage of a 3-stop race if you were in a strategist stand today?
Well, the 4-stop race is you're trying to make it on pace. You're trying to put fresh tires on more frequently and do it on average pace. The problem with the 4-stop here is you have to pass a lot of race cars to make that work, because you're going faster than everybody else. You lose time on pit lane. But I think Newgarden doing a great job working through the field. He's up 6 spots already. I don't expect a 4-stop today. He's got fresh, like 2 sets of sticker reds if he wanted them, but I think it's going to be a 3-stopper for Newgarden.
He's actually the only car in the grid, Townsend, that has 3 sets of sticker reds, because his problem in qualifying happened on his banker laps on the primary tires. He never even did a lap. So if the reds end up holding out, and they're going to be paying a lot of attention to the cars that started on those alternates, those red sidewalls, if they hold out, he could go red, 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 all stickers for the rest of the race and be in a great spot to move on.
And Newgarden's got great data, because his teammate Will Power is in clean air on red tires, and they can get all the information on the reds they need from the 12.
Here's Spain's Alex Palou for Chip Ganassi Racing, the outgoing NTT IndyCar Series champion. He's working hard to try and make something work on Scott McLaughlin. These guys are running 7th and 8th respectively.
And both of these guys started on the harder black sidewall tires.
And I would expect, we're at lap 4 right now, all those front runners started on sticker red. So if you're McLaughlin, you just have to be patient, hang in here. The field should be coming back to you in about 5 laps.
Everything going to plan, perfectly to plan so far for the Verizon 5G Chevy of championship leader Will Power, who leads the way. For those of you familiar with this, you know that we've been running this throughout the entire IndyCar racing season. Simply grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on your screen for a chance to win $25,000 at HighVDeals.com. It's simple. Scan the QR code and register to win. We say thanks to our friends at Hy-Vee. Already 6 laps in to this Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey, and let's show you something that went down. You would have noticed it in non-stop. Jimmy Johnson and AJ Foyt Racing's Dalton Kellett contact in the corkscrew. That's the first incident. There was going to be another one. Jimmy on the other side this time.
Jimmy's 2nd season of IndyCar racing and first full season, starting to use a little bit of the old chrome horn there to get by Dalton Kellett.
That camera angle there that our director established this weekend is so good at showing just how steep the world-famous corkscrew really is.
That was Jimmy Johnson letting Dalton Kellett back by. As this battle continues, Rosenqvist, Ericsson, and Connor Daly, and it looks like Rosenqvist just got by Ericsson.
There was another pass recently as well. Alex Palou was able to get the advantage on Scott McLaughlin.
And check this out here. This might be the reason for that swap. Black tires on Rosenqvist, red tires on Ericsson. Only 8 laps.
No problem.
Ericsson complaining no front tires. So this is the crossover point, at least for Ericsson, where those red tires are starting to really degrade. We thought it would be the rears first, but Ericsson talking about front tire, too much understeer. Kevin Lee, what's going on with Will Power?
Well, many noticed, if you're watching Peacock in the morning warm-up, a lot of significant changes to his car. He was only 18th in that practice session, so many wondered, are they struggling? Will told me no, it was all part of the plan. They wanted to try a lot of different things and ended up where they expected. With last year's setup, he said the car is good and he's ready, Marty.
Jeff mentioned a moment ago Kevin Scott McLaughlin, his teammate, being passed by Alex Palou. Well, what happened? Listen on the radio.
Just for no Palou, when he got around you, he rolled the exit of 2 a little bit higher, and he's at least a half car higher into 3. Seems to be working for him there.
A little coaching there for Scott McLaughlin. So, Hinch, we've talked all in the pre-race about it. We've talked all weekend. Scott McLaughlin will quote, cover what Scott Dixon does during the race to try and help his teammate Will Power. There's the man calling those shots, Kyle Moyer for Scott McLaughlin. So what does that mean when he's going to cover Scott Dixon?
Well, basically there's different strategies that you can take out on tires, and when you pit, undercut, overcut, trying to make a fuel stint last longer, maybe come in a bit earlier. And so right now, to essentially make sure that the 9 does not win this race, the 3 is going to cover their strategy by mimicking whatever the 9 team does. Right now, Scott McLaughlin has track position over Scott Dixon. McLaughlin's running in 8th, Dixon's down in 14th. So the 3 stand's just going to be paying a lot of attention to what's happening over on the 9 pit box. As soon as they see them setting up, they'll do the same thing and try to just match them stop for stop and tire for tire from here on out. And as we say it, the 9 team is laid out. So now look for the 3 team to maybe come in next lap.
Dylan Welsh standing by. Here they come. Pit road's getting busy.
Yeah, both of the Ganassi cars in the championship fight went backwards. We heard Ericsson's troubles. They'll go to sticker blacks. Same thing for Scott Dixon. They wanted to try to get to lap 15 on these reds to make it a 3-stop strategy. Didn't make it, obviously, Marty.
Colton Herta also coming down pit road. He started on used reds as well, going on a long time there on the left front. They're going to lose a ton of track position here, going to his sticker red tires. And as we predicted, Townsend, these alternate tires, yeah, they're quick at the start, but they fall off very fast.
Yeah, very surprised to see Colton go with the sticker reds there, but up front with Will Power, he's been able to maintain the pace on those reds. As you see, the loose wheel nut recovered by the Gainbridge crew, and that's frustrating under green flag or yellow flag conditions to have that much delay on pit lane.
Yeah,
that hurts.
14+ second stop there for Colton Herta. Usually it's a 7 or 8. I mean, with the fuel still being pretty full, only pitting on lap 9, it should have been probably closer to 6 seconds for just tires. So huge time loss for the Gainbridge Honda and Andretti Autosport, unfortunately.
This is the young man in his home state who has been living in quite a bit of turbulence of late. Here's a move trying to take place. Callum Ilott and former F1 driver Alexander Rossi, the 2016 Indianapolis 500 champion.
What's happened to Alexander Rossi? He was running a comfortable second. Now Pato O'Ward has gone round. Now Callum Ilott's gone around as well. He did start on used reds. We found out from our friends in pit lane that these weren't sticker reds like the other cars. Colton Herta, Romain Grosjean, and Alexander Rossi with this Auto Nation onboard here.
I'll tell you what's happening. He's driving a forklift here. Look at all the rear steer coming off the corners. Marty, Alexander Rossi is hanging on.
Yeah, and Colton Herta, his teammate, came on the radio, said, how long do you want me to run these reds? After they put the stickers on, he said these reds just simply do not work. So that's what's going on with Alexander Rossi. The handling has completely gone away. Meanwhile, when Scott Dixon came down pit road, immediately Kyle Moyer told Scott McLaughlin on the radio, we're going to Bravo 1. It was code word. They're coming in the next lap for Scott McLaughlin to try and cover exactly what we talked about, what Scott Dixon did.
Boy, Rossi had his hands full there in that Napa Auto Parts Auto Nation Honda. There's the crew laid out. That's Scott McLaughlin's crew. Let's go back on board, the Auto Nation on board with Alexander Rossi, his final drive for Michael Andretti's team before he heads to Arrow McLaren SP for 2023.
And just listen to how patient he has to be on the throttle. Kevin, it's spinning up. Malukas is with you.
Yeah, there's a battle for Rookie of the Year. David Malukas trying to get past Christian Lundgaard. He came in a little earlier than I expected. He's going to use the reds, Marty.
Sticker primary tires for Scott McLaughlin coming down pit road. They have not run the reds yet. He did lose a little bit to the 18 there, but the big key is here, he has to stay in front of Scott Dixon. I think he's going to do that easily, guys.
Yeah, he could afford to go a lap or two longer than the 9 because of how much track position he had over top of them. But guys, I'm very surprised at this call from the Dale Quinn Racing Squad, number 18, David Malukas, to go on those used reds. We're watching what's happening with Alexander Rossi. He's running 2 seconds a lap slower than Will Power right now, then Pato O'Ward, then Callum Ilott, the 3 cars in front of him and Romain Grosjean in 4th and 5th both started on those used reds. They are 2 seconds a lap slower. It does not look like the used reds can hang on.
But Will Power continues to make it work, so they've figured out something on the 12 car on how to balance it. I know Rossi started on used reds, but those only had 3 or 4 laps on it. Riding on board here with Will Power, it is smooth sailing. But I agree, why would you risk it? It's still an unknown. Nobody's gone long enough on the red tires yet to justify a full 28-lap stint, new or used.
You know who else is making it work well is Arrow McLaren SP's Pato O'Ward, because he's just nibbling away and taking a 10th or 2, close to half a second out of Will Power's lead. The lead is 3.2 seconds. It was 3.7. There's the familiar orange and black Arrow McLaren SP Chevrolet. So 3 Chevys at the front of this race in the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. And Pato, again up until last weekend for the 2nd consecutive year, was a championship contender. Dalton Kellett off track again in the K-Line Insulators Chevy. Yeah, he's had his hands full today.
Down the hill in turn 9.
That's a fast section to be leaving the racetrack. No damage to the K-Line car that I can see, but it's been a problematic and dramatic first stint for Dalton Kellett. Goes off very early in the corner.
Yeah, just probably dealing with a bunch of understeers. Those red tires start to fall off and just got into the dirty part, the gray part of the racetrack.
The big boss is here today watching his driver, Zach Brown, head of McLaren. Chose Monterey over Monza Yeah, the Formula One Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix earlier today, but Zach is here watching his IndyCar crew, and here's Alexander Rossi.
His quote at the end of that run, Diff, was, "Man, I am struggling." You see all the signatures on the front end of the car there. Alexander Rossi's last race for Andretti Autosport. Every crew member on the team signed the front of the car for him. He will take that home as a souvenir, but man, an absolute handful on those used reds. They went to sticker reds there, Townsend, so now their red runs will be out of the way for the rest of the day.
And Marty, James and I were just looking at each other. Well, why would you run reds again? Because he has to. You have to run sticker reds at least once. I don't think they want to at this point, but they have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because at the same time, you're looking at the top three who started on sticker reds, and they're pulling it off. They're doing very good lap times. They're pretty consistent, running in the high 15s, low 16s right now. So maybe a sticker set could get done. You see Alexander Rossi on the push to pass now, trying to get by Simona Di Silvestro.
She leaves him about a half a car width to consider it.
He really needs clear track. This is not an ideal scenario for the 27 right now. You can see there's a stack of cars in front of him. He's on fresh red tires. He wants to be making hay, and he just can't do it.
This track is tough enough if you've driven it quite frequently. For Simona Di Silvestro, the last time she raced anything here was 2009. Back to the pits.
Pato O'Ward is going to put on these sticker primary tires right here. The car pretty good for O'Ward. You mentioned it, Diff, kind of catching Will Power there. So now we'll see what he can do on the primary tires in the 5 car.
Pato O'Ward did such a nice job on the start. Found the inside opening. They were 3 wide. He found a gap on Rossi down in turn 2. But I agree, Marty. The 5 looked very good on the reds. And I would expect him to be equally as strong on the black tires as O'Ward is down in the way, comes out in front of, I think that's DiFrancesco.
So how about the man at the top of the championship and at the front of the race? It's the Verizon 5G Chevy of Will Power. Let's check in for some recent radio.
Eyes are like completely gone.
Okay, if you have a little pace, show it to me here.
That's about all I got.
Copy. Use some overtake.
Tires are pretty much gone, and that's why Will Power's diving for the pit lane.
So look to the upper left. This is the fastest driver in IndyCar history on brand new reds. Made it 15 laps before he desperately called for help. Remember that later in this race. Kevin?
This is the sticker set of alternates, the red. He's going to primary Firestone, Speedway fuel this time. Mission accomplished on the first end for Will Power. The gap was 5 seconds, rolling away. Solid pit stop for the Verizon team.
And solid pit stop's an understatement. A 6 flat from the 12 crew. That's an impressive stop. Won't be a full fill because he only had 15 laps down. You could do almost twice that on a tank of fuel. It's all coming down to tires in this first stint, but look at Joseph Newgarden starting on those primaries all the way up to 5th place at the moment.
Here comes Pato O'Ward, who's already made his stop. He'll exit pit lane, or sorry, Power will exit pit lane. That's the over-under, the green flag stop. Power will struggle a bit behind his teammate Newgarden, so maybe Newgarden gives him some help, but they've got lap cars in front of them.
And up front, Callum Ilott has made these red tires last longer than anybody, and it's still running pretty competitive lap times.
Remember, it was 3.2 seconds before Pato O'Ward pitted. Power has been serviced, so has the Arrow McLaren SP driver. We'll give you that gap once they settle down a little. 17 laps into the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and you look at the top 2 guys in the race head-to-head and the time differential powered by NTT on their first respective stops.
Yeah, Pato O'Ward got a message that he needed to work on his in-lap. There's not a whole lot left there, 900ths. The difference really, time in the pit box. Team Penske getting it done once again for Will Power, 1.3 seconds quicker than the 5.
And then you look at the outlap advantage Pato O'Ward to the tune of nearly half a second. So from behind the wheel, Pato did his job, and unfortunately for the 5 crew, the 12 guys and girls
and that
were just phenomenal.
Outlap, James, for Will Power was impeded slightly because he had some traffic, including his teammate Joseph Newgarden, but Newgarden moved over, lifted, made it pretty easy for Power to get by. So you have to think that Team Penske was giving Joseph Newgarden the information, let him know the situation. Slightly different strategies there.
And just a reminder, on the left-hand side of your screen, the championship leader, as we know, is Will Power. He's underlined in white. The other contenders are in blue. So you see Joseph Newgarden there running 5th at the moment, but yet to stop. He's stretching his opening stint. So too is race leader Alex Palou, Felix Rosenquist, Christian Lundgaard, the top man in the Rookie of the Year race. And Kyle Kirkwood. There are others who are yet to pit as well. They're stretching out this first run. So here is the XPEL Chevy for Scott McLaughlin. Let's go to the McLaughlin camp and have a listen. Here's our spy cam.
We're okay here. We're doing good. This will probably be a two-stopper here. We'll have to save a little fuel later. Right now, people are cycling.
So they pitted on the early side of the window for the three-stop strategy on lap 12. So Kevin, little fuel save for the thirsty threes to get to the end.
And Alex Palou with a great first stint using the primaries. He's on the sticker red Firestones now in a way. Remember, he had an engine change. This was a Firestone Fast 6 car yesterday, but a 6-grid penalty. He said the car is really good. He is not expected to do anything out of the ordinary. He said, my job is just to try to finish in front of the Penske's. That's how I can help my team win the championship.
Guys, this morning here at WeatherTech Raceway in the now famous McLaren Ford Condor motorhome, the old 1970s motorhome, there was a group of us from the media who met with McLaren Racing's boss, Zach Brown, and we asked him collectively, what can you tell us about Palou? You know, the legal fight that's going on now between Chip Ganassi Racing and McLaren for the services of the young Spaniard. I said, what can you tell us about Palou? He said, I can tell you that we very much like Felix Rosenqvist. And we said, what do we read into that? And he said, well, of course, I was having a bit of fun with you. He said, but while the legal battle goes on between Palou's people and Chip Ganassi Racing, he said, we're going to need to make a decision one way or another, and probably by the end of this month. What do you make of that?
Well, I can tell you what I make of it is that what I heard from my source this morning is if you want Alex Palou to drive for you next year, you're going to pay that guy in the orange hat, Chip Ganassi, $10 million. That's the buyout. That's the price. That's the bounty, James, that they put on Palou. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Almost unprecedented for an active current team with their active current driver, for the team to be suing them and for the driver to be wanting to leave apparently under contract.
It's the most unique situation I've ever seen. Is Colton Herta now is trying to line up Scott Dixon, Honda on board. Oh, and he goes a bit wide in turn 2. Colton Herta on those red tires, can't quite make it stick.
And Herta knows this is my only shot. I need to get this done early on that fresh red rubber, because in just a few laps with the track temp at 110, those reds are really going to start falling apart soon, Marty.
So when you take the case of Colton Herta sitting there in 15th, trying to get around Scott Dixon, also his teammate Alexander Rossi. Townsend, I'd love to chat with you about this. They started on the used red tires. They had to go to sticker red tires for that second run. You would love to be able to extend this window and make it just a 3-stop race, but as fast as those reds are falling off, sticker or used, I'm not sure that they'll be able to do that. They may have to make this a 4-stop race. What do you think?
They're in a dark, miserable place right now. They have to make 3 more stops to get to the end, and in order to make a 4-stop strategy work, right now they need to be passing race cars. And Colton Herta stuck now in 15th, so this is not working out. The only thing that saves this strategy is a yellow.
Look at how wide Scott Dixon went there in turn 11, really struggling with the balance. Definitely grip advantage to Colton Herta, but he just can't do anything about it.
Look at the exit, though, that Dixon was able to get. Is he on to something? I've seen him miss just about every apex these last few laps. Look at how wide he is in 2. He's going to come nowhere near that apex. This is almost like a rain line from Scott Dixon. Let's see what he does in 3.
Following along with the Firestone telemetry, that's bizarre. It's almost like
he's running the cushion.
Well, he was the one who told us the other day that racing this track, even in the dry, is like running in the wet.
I'm not kidding, James. He's running wide intentionally in every corner, and he's pulling away from Colton Herta. Look at that. He's missed 5 apexes big time in a row.
And that's not a Scott Dixon trait, that's for sure. So you could be right. I mean, we do know that this track surface is being redone because it has degraded quite a bit over the years, and sometimes what that means is the line itself can actually get a little bit polished and sometimes less grip than the less traditional.
Let's see what he does in turn 9. It's almost like he's running on a bank of rubber built up on the outside. Wide in 9. What does he do in 10? I've never seen this before for a whole lap at Laguna. Apex there. Final corner in 11. Last lap, he was wide again. Colton Herta's got to be reprogramming everything he knows about this racetrack. It's crazy, but it's working.
It is working, and man, Colton Herta knows a lot about this racetrack. Look, you see him on
I don't understand what's going on in this race.
What's going on?
Tire problem, so it's kind of coming around. We're P13 right now.
Kevin, that was a very short stint from Malukas.
Yeah, they've got issues. I've heard David on the radio a bit, but I can't understand it. But clearly, it was not handling to his liking coming in after only 10 laps. This is their second stop, while Rosenqvist and Newgarden haven't even stopped once yet.
Well, we talked about it before when they came in for that first stop and switched to the scuffed reds. I could not understand it. I was scratching my head, and now here you go, 10 laps in, he's had to abandon that. This is really all coming unglued for David Malukas, who's locked in that championship battle for Rookie of the Year with Christian Lundgaard.
So that's Malukas, that's Herta, that's Rossi, and Herta and Rossi 8th and 9th in the points, I think, coming into this thing, and it's tight. They could easily fall to 10th in the championship. So a lot on the line here, not just in the championship battle, as Joseph Newgarden finally comes to pit lane. Coming to you, Marty.
Just one of 2 cars that have yet to pit. Felix Rosenqvist still on the racetrack. In fact, they asked Rosenqvist a moment ago, can you go longer? He said, yes, all I'm losing is the rears a little bit. He's on the primaries, and they're pitting here on a hill, which I'm sure does not make it easy, Townsend. One of those sticker alternate tires for Joseph Newgarden, who made it 23 laps into that run. We'll see now how he does on these alternate tires.
I'm a little surprised he didn't go farther. I would have thought you wanted to get to 27, 28 and make this red stint as short as possible. We'll have to see how it plays out.
And guess who is going longer? Felix Rosenqvist of Arrow McLaren SP. The Swedish driver leads the race, yet to pit. Here we are, we're riding on board with the Mission Foods on board, and things going well. Remember, he's one of the guys we're talking about that what does 2023 look like for this likable Swede? He dives for the pits. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Firestone tires for driving IndyCar legends. Honda, an official vehicle of the NTT IndyCar Series. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. It's championship day, and here's a couple of champions on screen in the NTT Data Honda. That's Alex Palou, who just went by Will Power for the lead of this race. Chip Ganassi versus Team Penske. That's what it's all about as far as the championship is concerned. Palou in that bright blue number 10 machine. He's no longer in title contention, Kevin, but he's going for the win, something he's been unable to do this year.
And he was told about 3 laps ago, you have the tire advantage, go get him. As Alex told me, this is how he can help the team. While he might be trying to move to another team, he says, I'm still a Chip Ganassi racing driver. I want us to win the championship. So for now, Will Power is just trying to hang on and make the best of it in this black run.
Yeah, before we went to break, I was just looking at how much ground Palou had made up. Remember, he qualified 5th, 6th place grid penalty for an unscheduled engine change, started 11th, and he was running 4th on strategy by the time we went to break, and now he's all the way up essentially to the lead. It's incredible.
He's flying. He's got about 7 laps on those red tires. So for Will Power, on the radio, I'd be coaching my driver up, say, hey, just be patient. Let him go as hard as he wants. Good chance that he'll come back to you. So Power's just got to drive within the limit of the tire that he has and be very progressive and kind to his rear tires on throttle application.
Marty?
Boy, this track at Laguna Seca has just been brutal to Firestone tires today. Colton Herta on the reds for that run saying, I don't understand what you guys are asking me to do. They simply do not work. He asked 2 or 3 times to come to pit road. They asked him to stay out longer. They, in fact, had the tires set out to go to the primary tires a moment ago, 2 laps ago, in fact, and he said, listen, if I stay out, I'm just going to continue losing time. He was 14th when he came to pit road, but Townsend, that's going to make this now a 4-stop race for Colton Herta.
That was Simon Pagenaud, Marty, in the dirt, off track in the Meyer Shank Honda, and he was able, fortunately, to avoid hitting the tire wall.
Defending Marcus Ericsson. Ericsson shoves it inside turn 3. They touch, and there goes Pagenaud. And how in the world did he keep it off the tire wall? That is an impressive piece of driving.
That was a great save. You talked at the top of the show, Townsend, about wanting to see some more aggression out of Marcus Ericsson. Well, here you go, into turn 3. Not an easy spot to do it, not a huge brake zone, and such a slick, flat corner. It'll be interesting to see how the stewards look at that one.
I don't think there was anything wrong with that.
No, he's there.
Ericsson was all the way alongside. We've seen way worse this season. And that's a great example where for Pagenaud, he's sort of trying to defend, trying to make it difficult, and only made his life more difficult, losing another position, and now Scott Dixon's all over the back of Pagenaud.
In the background behind the white and red Husky Chocolate Honda, and Christian Lundgaard in the People Ready Honda for Rahal Letterman Lanigan. Where he runs right now in 10th position, that's going to be good enough to seal the deal to be Rookie of the Year. Has already delivered his team a podium in his first year in IndyCar competition. He's settled, he feels at home, he's going to stay with the team.
Yeah, they did a great job. They started on the primaries back in 16th position, ran very long all the way to lap 22 before they pit, threw on the alternate red tires, and that's got him now just inside the top 10, where David Malukas, who he's battling with Rookie of the Year championship for, he had that problem. He had to come and pit after only 10 laps of his second stint.
Townsend mentioned earlier in the race about Peretta Autosports, Simona Di Silvestro. Here she is, Dylan.
Yeah, and we saw Kaylee Humphreys give the command earlier today. She's a three-time gold medal winner in the Olympic monobob and bobsledding competition. So the collaboration here is because Simona is training to compete in the upcoming Winter Olympics in the bobsled competition. So certainly some advice swapped, I'm sure, between the two of them yesterday. And you see Kaylee rode in the two-seater yesterday with Mario. So really cool weekend for them. At the bottom of your screen, you see Scott Dixon, and he's in a little bit earlier than they had planned. I think they were trying to get to about lap 32, so he's in just a little bit early.
Almost a third of the way through this race already.
We might be seeing this race switch to a four-stop race for many cars like Dixon, like we saw with Herta already. One thing that I find interesting is that Will Power right now is circulating slower on black tires at lap 15 than he did on reds at lap 15 when he said, I gotta come in, I can't hang on to it. I don't know if that's because he's protecting it or if everybody's surprised as you look at Will Power's last 3 laps. He's had no traffic in front of him, James, and the black tire just doesn't seem to be doing very well long-term either.
But remember, Will Power would have used 2 sets of sticker reds in qualifying. He started on his 3rd and final set of sticker reds, so he only has used reds left if he wants to go that way. I don't think that's the answer. You look at Palou right now, he's running lap times over 2 seconds faster right now on sticker reds.
What I'm wondering, Marty, is should Will Power have run longer on those reds earlier? Here comes McLaughlin. What does he do?
Yeah, so move, counter move. We saw Scott Dixon pit. Here's McLaughlin pitting as well, putting on primary tires. And they was just told on the radio, it looks like this 4-stop strategy might be the way to go. Kyle Warrior told him, I think time-wise, this is actually going to work out better. So McLaughlin coming in for those primary tires. So maybe it will, after all, Townsend wind up being a 4-stop race for the winner.
Well, to make it on 3 stops, a couple of your stints need to be 27, 28 laps long, and so far we haven't seen anybody go that distance. The longest we saw was Felix Rosenquist did a 25-lap stint.
Let's not forget about Juncos Hollinger's Callum Ilott, because he's just been very quietly staying in the top 5. Started on the front row for the first time in his IndyCar career. This is David Malukas trying to work over Connor Daly as we go to that 5th place car of Callum Ilott. Here he is. No immediate pressure from behind or in front, and is putting up the team's best ever run.
Rossi back in pit lane. You can see it there. Marty, the Andretti boys are really having to switch things up.
Well, I think Townsend, a lot of teams are here jumping to the 4-stop strategy. They're saying, hey, these fresh Firestones are worth so much time. There's a lot of time that you lose by adding this extra stop to the race, but maybe the fresh Firestones make up that difference.
And every time another car commits to that 4-stopper and dives off the 3-stopper, that's one less car you essentially have to pass on pace. So doing it early can sometimes really be beneficial.
I'll tell you what's beneficial is the 4-stop switch for a lot of cars at the front is helping Joseph Newgarden. He's only 28 seconds back of Palou, but only 19 seconds back of Will Power. So Newgarden has to check up there, but Newgarden's been coming forward with a very fast race car, and we're not even near halfway, guys. He could absolutely be in the mix at the end of this thing.
Oh boy, that was close. It was Dalton Kellett ahead of the Hitachi Chevrolet, and Joseph had to check up Hinch. He really had to watch himself to avoid contact with the AJ Foyt racer. Marty.
And keep in mind, Diff, Newgarden is making this terrific run through the field. 2nd fastest car on the last lap, 3rd fastest the lap before that on the alternate tires. Newgarden doing a fantastic job, showing why he's a 2-time champion, managing those alternate tires, Dylan.
One of our championship contenders is in. Marcus Ericsson went 2 laps longer than his Chip Ganassi Racing teammate Scott Dixon. They'll go off the black tires and put another set of sticker primary Firestones on. Speedway fuel as well for Ericsson.
I mean, we talk about the reds versus the blacks. Right now, your leader, Alex Palou, has a 10 2-second margin over Will Power as we take a look back at Marcus Ericsson getting around Dalton Kellett, who then had to check up. We see Joseph Newgarden nearly getting into the back of the 4 machine.
So if if Palou keeps up this pace as we take another look here, there goes Ericsson clear of Dalton Kellett, and Newgarden is trying to make it work, but just gets the timing wrong. So think about this. Palou has 13 laps on his reds. If he keeps up this pace, Joseph Newgarden is the only one in the field with 2 more sets of sticker reds left. It is all to play for here in Monterey. Newgarden on the charge, Power trying to hang on. We'll be back with more action.
A quick reminder that reinventing the wheel takes you behind the scenes with Jimmy Johnson and the Carvana racing crew, and you can follow along as they face new challenges, new adventures on and off the track. Episodes 1 through 7 are available now on carvana.com/racing, so don't miss out. Marty Newgarden is in.
There you go, Diff. Joseph Newgarden, who had been doing a fantastic job on the alternate tires. He was the fastest car at the end of that run, lap 12 and 13 for those alternate tires, faster than anybody else in the entire field. Now they've gone to primaries here, so I don't know. Can they stretch it from here, Townsend, to make it only on 2 more stops? I don't know how, or 1 more stop. I don't know how they would do that.
They have 60 laps to go, so they could. They absolutely could. This is going to be fascinating to watch. Newgarden proving that he might be the fastest car on the racetrack today, but he started all the way at the back. He now sits about 35 seconds, back 45 seconds back of Alex Palou, the leader, but he's in a really good space on the track. He's got fresh tires and he can run with 1 more stop, I think.
This is a good scrap going on here. The yellow and white XPEL Chevy is Scott McLaughlin versus rookie David Malukas in the black, white and red car. That's the Dale Coyne Racing with HMD Motorsport Honda. These are the 2 guys who went at it on that very last lap at Worldwide Technology Raceway, with Malukas coming out on top, and they're fighting over a position approaching the top 10. McLaughlin's 12th, pardon me, at the moment, with Malukas in 13th.
Understand Jimmy Johnson is trying to get back past Will Power.
Trying to unlap himself. Jimmy Johnson running down in 24th at the moment. Power P2.
Jimmy would have to get past Power and then get 10 seconds up the road and pass leader Alex Palou to make that work.
Well, Alex Palou's hit a little bit of traffic. I was going to say that's the first time I've seen that gap close up. It was over 11 seconds just a lap ago, but Alex Palou, oh no, actually he's in fairly clean air now. He got around the 20 of Connor Daly.
And while Will Power in this Verizon Chevy runs in 2nd in the race, he currently boasts a 42-point championship advantage, so doubled his advantage as they run, but this thing is far from over.
David Malukas looking at Rinus VeeKay here, really wants to get by. Those 2.
I'm looking at the gap between Will Power and his teammate Newgarden. It's a little under 30 seconds to make a stop under green flag. Newgarden is 45 seconds back of Palou, 35 back of Power. So think about that. When Power makes his next stop, they'll each, Power and Newgarden will have 1 stop to left. Newgarden will have made up, he'll be only 5 seconds behind Will Power after Power's next stop. That's a huge gap that he's made up since the start of this race, Kevin, after starting at the back.
So we were watching Jimmy Johnson trying to get by Will Power. I don't think Jimmy's thinking about trying to get back ultimately on the lead lap. This is how he can help his teammates get in front of Will Power and then set the pace a little bit and cause Power to lose a little bit of time on track, well, if he can get by him. I think it's going to be unlikely.
About to change in a big way, Kevin. Callum Ilott has stopped on the racetrack in an area that almost certainly will bring out a full course caution unless he can get refired, but it doesn't look good for the 77.
What a shame this is. The weekend was going so well. Not sure what has happened is the radio communique.
If a yellow comes now, it is a huge break for Newgarden.
Kevin, here comes Palou.
And I think Will Power is going to follow him as well. And Palou has to dodge Kyle Kirkwood's car exiting. He's taking off the reds. He's got a sticker set of primary Firestone Speedway fuel as well. And he's got to wait for Will Power. That cost him 2 to 3 seconds. Power is in, and he almost clipped Felix Rosenquist going in right in front of Power. Power is going to scuff primaries, and he's back out.
Chaotic pit lane, everybody trying to dive in before the full course caution comes and pit lanes close. Marty, you're down in the 5.
Pat O'Ward here making that pit stop, the Arrow McLaren SP cars. You saw that close call between Rosenquist and Will Power. They will cycle out, but I tell you what, if the caution does come out here, Newgarden sitting in a terrific spot, and they are thinking they can do it on one more stop for Joseph Newgarden. There you see Callum Eilert. He is still stalled on the racetrack. That's got to bring out a caution, Hinch.
IndyCar is going to give everybody an opportunity because the 77 is not in a high-risk location. They're going to wait here, give everybody a chance, sort of like you've been warned, get to the pits now because the yellow's coming. Now, luckily for Power and Palou, they were able to get in, and they still will slot ahead of Newgarden, but the gap will tighten up, and there's the caution.
Here it is, finally. And we knew that it was coming. IndyCar tries to play fair with everybody to give everybody a chance to get in and get out again before the AMR safety team is sent to go and retrieve Callum Eilert. How it turned around so dramatically. Front row start, top 5 running position, and it's all come to a grinding halt for the 23-year-old British driver. Let's show you if we can read any more into this, guys. Let's have a look. Pit exit, and no power.
Yeah, I mean, we could tell based on the location of the car that it didn't look like it was a spin or an incident, just some sort of mechanical issue.
Unless something didn't get fully tight on the pit stop and they told him to park it. But this is Will Power's stop.
So how tight that was with Alex Palou pulling out. Look at this, Felix Rosenquist, Alex Palou on your left there pulling out. My God, I'm not sure how they didn't touch. Contact in pit lane would result to an unsafe release penalty for the 10 car.
Watch this.
See this great call by his outside front tire changer to hold him for Will Power.
There was
contact. That will be frowned upon greatly by race control, guys. A lot of times, any sort of contact in pit lane is an automatic penalty, so we await to see what decision race control makes there.
So after doing everything right to avoid power, is that then deemed an unsafe release?
It very well could be.
We'll see. What a day we're having here in California on Championship Day, where it is far from over. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by People Ready, the official staffing provider of the NTT IndyCar Series. Liberty Mutual Insurance, only pay for what you need. And by Hy-Vee. Throughout this race season, HyVeeDeals.com provides a chance to win $25,000. HyVeeDeals.com, proud sponsor of the number 45 car. Back at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, we are under the race's first full course caution, and it was for the stranded Callum Eilert of Juncos Hollinger. There was a throng of action on pit lane, everybody diving for fuel and tires to reset Marty Snyder and go again. But this adds another interesting chapter to the Championship Day story of Joseph Newgarden.
Total reset of the day for the two-time champion Joseph Newgarden, who has been the Firestone biggest mover of the race. He has plus 20 since the beginning of this race, and now they are in a position to race their teammate Will Power heads up for the championship. They had a discussion about the fuel and all of that under the last caution. Listen.
Yeah, just save us some fuel here. Save us some fuel. They all pitted, so we're 3 laps short of where they are. The 9 car stayed out. They've been out there for 10 laps.
So Joseph Newgarden told me yesterday, guys, despite 5 wins for us this year, it's been a disappointing season. I got so frustrated so many times because things didn't fall our way. On Championship Sunday, he might have gotten the caution at the right time. All of a sudden, the guy who started 25th is sitting in 5th and right behind his teammate Will Power.
And he set that tone right from the start of the day when you spoke to him, Marty. He just said, I'm actually feeling more relaxed. Here's Kevin Lee. What you got on the championship leader, Kev?
So Will Power has been told all of those that just stopped are good to make it home on one more stop. As Marty mentioned, Newgarden had already come in before. We think he can make it. We know those in front, like Palou and Power and Rosenquist and O'Ward, can get it done.
And we are coming to the green this time by as they snake down through Rainy Curve, the corner named after the multi-time World 500cc Grand Prix champion Wayne Rainey. One of the famous curves on this track, the Andretti hairpin, and the non-curve, the Ray Hall straight leading up to the corkscrew.
Go, go, go.
Let's get ready. Green, green, green is the call. And Alex Palou will see a nice clear track ahead. Lots of tails stepping out. And watch this, Felix Rosenqvist on Will Power.
Trouble for Will Power. He got squarely off of turn 11. Here comes Rosenqvist sending it up the outside. There's a long way around, but there's more grip out there. Power drives him wide, though. Holds on to the position.
Little squirrely on those colder tires. Somebody drops a wheel off, no big deal.
Now we got to see if there's damage to that front wing for Alex Palou. That was fairly decent contact with Felix Rosenqvist in pit lane. He'll be feeling this thing out while out front.
Word from race control, no further action. They investigated that incident, no action.
Okay, that's not normally how that works, but
here's what I'd be doing, though. If I'm Chip Ganassi Racing, I think I'd ask Alex Palou, no need to open some monster gap here. Just ride in front, keep Power behind you. That's probably what you should do if you want to help Scott Dixon get up in the championship.
Well, Newgarden.
Great
on
move.
Pato O'Ward at the top of the corkscrew. The Hitachi Chevy is flying.
Here we go. We went from only one championship contender of the 5 starting inside the Firestone Fast 6. Now, as this race unfolds, all 5 are in the top 10.
And Joseph Newgarden is on the leading strategy. As you see the pass here, the climb to the corkscrew, highest elevation on the racetrack, and boom, gonna send it right up the inside.
Man, he leaves no margin for error as he pulls alongside the 5 of Pato O'Ward. Really good stuff there. Marty, what else do you know?
Hinch, as we watch his teammate Scott McLaughlin try and get another spot back in the field. Remember what Joseph Newgarden told me after his spin yesterday in qualifying? We took the fastest car here in Laguna Seca and threw it away with my mistake. Newgarden's been in the back of the back. He hasn't been able to show how quick that 2 car is, but now he can. He's up in 4th, and it's going to be a heads-up battle between he and his teammate Will Power for the championship here.
Last weekend, we witnessed Scott Dixon go from 16th to 3rd. Today, it's Joseph Newgarden going from 25th to 4th at the moment. What a drive it has been today.
It is not done yet, Jeff. Here he comes again. Newgarden up the inside of O'Ward's teammate, Rosenqvist. Newgarden showing corkscrew moves like we haven't seen since Alex Zanardi.
And he stayed on the track. That was a great move. I mean, very committed. The thing is, when you get it, when you pull it off once or twice as Palou drops the wheel at the front of the field there, you get really confident, you keep trying it, but as you move up the field, you're going against faster and faster race cars. And now the next one is his teammate and the championship leader.
How does this play out? Marty, what do you think Team Penske tells Will Power and Joseph Newgarden? Because Newgarden clearly faster right now, and they both have about the same tire life.
Grosjean on the inside. There's moves happening everywhere. The DHL Honda on Pato O'Ward. O'Ward responds, and that's Grosjean's favorite move. Goes around the outside out of the Andretti hairpin and tucks it back on the inside for turn 3.
Grosjean's been working outside lines all season, and they rarely work out. This time, 2 laps in a row. Marty, let's go back to that Team Penske situation. What do you expect here?
The interesting thing, Townsend, is that earlier in the race, when it looked like Newgarden wasn't going to be close to being able to pull this off, he was told to actually kind of protect Will Power and stay in front of Scott Dixon. Now I think they leave it heads up, and let's see what happens. So fight it out. 51 laps to go. Long way to go in this race. You got to save fuel. A lot of things have to happen, but I think they're going to let him fight it heads up here. Newgarden now in 3rd. Power sitting in 2nd right in front of him.
James, not too long ago, Newgarden was letting Power by.
That's true. That's a great point, and it's all really turned around now. But guys, I'm looking up front. I cannot believe the pace of the 10 car. And Alex Palou on even tires with Will Power has pulled out almost 5-second gap now. It's just incredible what he's doing. But let's check in with the guy running 2nd place. He's leading this championship. We got some radio. Sorry, the one behind him, Joseph Newgarden, the 2 car. Let's listen to some radio.
Hey, you know the game here. We're going to be real far.
Copy. I'll be gentle. Be gentle back.
I'll be gentle if he is gentle back. That was the word from the president of Team Penske to his driver. Kev, what's going on in Will Power land?
He is struggling. He said taking the wing out on that stop was the wrong way, trying to hang on, and he's been warned that Newgarden is really good in the corkscrew.
You know, let him go. I mean, all he's got to do, it doesn't matter what else happens if he finishes on the podium, this championship's his. He's already taken a point for pole, a point for leading a lap. Joseph Newgarden.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
I'll be gentle if he's gentle. What happens between the teammates? It's close, but Newgarden pulls off the move on Power.
You gotta love it. Newgarden, that is 3 corkscrew passes in the last 5 laps. Sensational stuff Newgarden now, head down, bit between his teeth. He's going after Palou.
He's got a 7-second gap he's got to make up, but right now he's got the bit between his teeth, like you say, Townsend, and he's absolutely capable of doing this. This is really how we've seen Joseph Newgarden winning races this year.
And if I'm Will Power, I'm in shock right now.
Right.
At the beginning of this race, Newgarden, that guy was supporting my bid for a championship, and now just 25 laps later, Marty, Newgarden's driving away to win the championship.
And Will Power might lose another spot. Felix Rosenqvist all over his tail right now. Tim Cindric came on the radio once Joseph Newgarden got past Will Power. He said, we're driving hard, we're driving away. Newgarden said, okay. So I think it's game on. No team orders at all. Newgarden told, go for it.
And Power has to be careful. Newgarden said he'd be gentle, but you're not getting that from Rosenqvist, Grosjean, Award, or Ericsson. It is all just absolute warriors behind you.
And we're still only halfway through this race, guys. We're yelling like this is the final stint. We're coming down to the checkered flag. This thing is far from over. All it takes is one misjudgment from not even Will Power, but the car behind him on an overtake attempt. He goes out of the race. Joseph Newgarden can win this thing.
I feel like we're getting into that chaos phase of the race, and when that happens, I ask myself, where is Scott Dixon lurking? He's quietly in 11th. He's really not on a great strategy situation, but with one more yellow, Dixon could also be in this mix.
And that's why he seems so relaxed pre-race as well. Look at that yellow and red DHL Honda. Here comes Romain Grosjean. Look at the box down on the right. There's the move at the corkscrew. Here's Grosjean on the inside of Felix Rosenqvist. Now he's after Will Power. The Andretti man is on the move.
Now Will Power's rolling his eyes, James, going, oh, great. Here comes Grosjean.
And he's not going to hang about. He is not going to hang about.
Replay again. I love that pass from Newgarden on Power. Power didn't leave more than an inch, but Newgarden took every bit of it.
Guys, on that last lap, Palou and Newgarden were the two fastest cars on track, and they were over a second faster than Romain Grosjean, who was the third quickest, but that's closer to 2.5 seconds faster, second and a half faster than Will Power. So incredible pace from the two cars at the front, and Will Power seems to be in a bit of trouble with Grosjean breathing down his neck, Kev.
And remember the drive that he had last year. Grosjean was the show in the later stages of the race, going from mid-pack up to third. Remember, this is a guy that hasn't won a race since 2011. He told me the car was terrible this morning. They took a big swing at it. Looks like they hit on something, certainly on this set of Firestones.
He's drawing on the memories of a year ago here at WeatherTech Raceway, where he had that storming drive, had fresher tires than everybody else towards the end of the race, put that big block move on Jimmy Johnson, and wasn't holding back for anyone and got to stand on the podium at this legendary circuit. He's one position away from being in the top three. That's the PNC Bank Honda, the orange and blue machine there of Scott Dixon, who has pitted again, and we'll have one more stop before the end of this race. We say thanks to Geico for our wonderful overhead and aerial coverage of this Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. The official staffing provider of the NTT IndyCar Series, People Ready, has donated more than $1 million to drivers and their charities throughout the season, with Joseph Newgarden securing the Force for Good grand prize at Road America. Now, he could take another win and $10,000 today and continue to make a difference in his community. For more on the Force for Good Challenge, visit peopleready.com. Back at it, and we are officially into the second half of this race. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Marty Snyder, Kevin Lee, and Dylan Welsh enjoying Championship Day here at Laguna Seca. Dylan?
Well, we saw Scott Dixon on pit road, and the pace just hasn't been there for them today. So they put the red tires back on, the alternate Firestones, a sticker set that he had laying because he missed the Fast 12 in qualifying earlier this weekend. So one positive is that they did have a set of new tires. So Dixon going to try something here, try and make some moves, try and get some track position on the racetrack here with some clean air. So one other quick note, too, if the championship doesn't work out like they want it to, if he's able to complete all the laps this race, he'd be the first driver to ever complete every single lap in a season twice. That's almost 2,300 laps this year. He's completed every lap so far, trying to finish the deal here today.
Yeah, him and Will Power, the only two drivers on the season to come in with the opportunity to do it, as we watch him drop a wheel out of turn 3.
And Dixon's really going to need a yellow on this stint. He is the last car now on the lead lap, 46 seconds back from the leaders. As you take a look at what happens when you just take a little too much there at the exit of 3, you case the tub on the high point of the exit curb. Luckily, he's able to continue, but Lady Luck needs to step in at this point for Scott Dixon.
A lot further up the road, Will Power has been able to sustain the pressure and challenge from Romain Grosjean of Andretti Autosport. Here they are here. You can see that buffer there. It's more than a second. And then you go a little further back to Felix Rosenquist, Pato O'Ward, Marcus Ericsson. And then we talk the three, Marty.
As we mentioned, Scott Dixon pits. You're going to see Scott McLaughlin pit. He's been able to stay ahead of the 9 car on the racetrack. What they in essence do is they kind of mine their gap to the 9 car. As soon as they have to come to pit road to match what Dixon just did, they do that. Scott McLaughlin playing the dutiful teammate now for 2 other teammates, Joseph Newgarden and Will Power.
And there you see the 9 car just entering the screen. There's a couple cars between them. Scott McLaughlin 3 cars up from Scott Dixon right now as we ride on board the Honda onboard. And there he is. That's the difference. That's the gap. So as long as they're in front, even if the yellow does come to the aid of Scott Dixon, it's also going to come to the aid of Scott McLaughlin, who has him on track position. So that's what they're doing there with the 3.
And Dixon goes by Sato, try to make quick work through the field on these fresh, softer reds. He's got to keep the pace up. But for Will Power, Kevin, kind of hanging on right now ahead of 3 very aggressive drivers.
And remember, we're all trying to figure out the fuel strategy as Dixon picks up more track position. We think those that stop under caution are fine, but let's listen to what Will Power was just told about his teammate in front of him.
Just to make sure you know the score here, Will. 2's going to have to stop an extra stop. You need to keep these guys behind you and make a 62.
So, Marty, what do you think? The Power camp believes that Newgarden cannot get home on one more stop.
The game's inside of Team Penske going on right now. I just checked in with Tim Cindric, the strategist for Joseph Newgarden, who we ride on board with the Hitachi onboard camera. I said, can you make it on one more stop? He said, it's going to be close, but they think they can. The one thing I would point out, Hinch, is that right now Newgarden's got a massive gap over Will Power, but he's turning much quicker lap times than Will Power. So if they were tight on fuel, I think they would back him down a little bit, but they are showing no back down in the 2 in terms of lap time right now.
Well, if they think they're going to go 60 laps with 1 pit stop, 30 laps a stint, they need to save some fuel. Let's take advantage of some Firestone telemetry here and listen to Newgarden at the end of the front straightaway. Does he coast it? Not one bit. So that seems like Newgarden knows the situation and knows he has to go full rich and is going to have to make an extra stop from Palou and Power.
Marcus Ericsson at the bottom of your screen. Sticker black tires going on. A little hiccup there on the right rear. That's going to cost him a little bit of time under green flag stops, but Ericsson down and away.
So 55 into the 95 laps of the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. How is this going to shake out? And we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that although the championship leader has dropped to 3rd in this race, he still boasts a 17-point advantage. This is still going to be a tough one for Joseph Newgarden to do over Will Power.
Yeah, when you just look at the advantage that he's pulled out, he's still pulling away. He's still the fastest car on track as Alex Palou tries Joseph Newgarden might to catch him. 8.4 seconds is the gap now. It's opened up about 1.5 seconds since Joseph overtook P2.
Gotta wonder what it's gonna be like at the end of this thing. This would be the first race win that Alex Palou's had since being sued by his race team. So what does that embrace look like after this thing? Palou reminding everybody why there's a $10 million bounty supposedly on his head. He is super capable, a champion in only his 2nd year of IndyCar racing and leading comfortably in that blue number 10 NTT data car.
And that's been one of the more interesting things this year, hasn't it? Coming in as a defending champion, the reigning champion, and not being able to put a W up on the board this year has been somewhat unusual for Alex himself, for the team, especially after the joyous season they had last year. But the team and Palou have done very well to block out those external challenges and distractions of the legal case and just get on with racing. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hy-Vee, proud sponsor of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Hy-Vee, making lives easier, healthier, and happier. United Rentals, official equipment rental services partner of IndyCar and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. And by Firestone Tires, for driving IndyCar legends. Somebody's going to go into the history books here today for being the champion of 2022. Just who will it be? And look at these beautiful images high above WeatherTech Raceway, with thanks to our friends at Geico. Just shows you the severe undulation of the track and exactly where we are in relation to the Monterey Bay area, Monterey Peninsula, and all around. This is such a classic place to host the championship finale for the title leader, championship leader. Will Power of Team Penske in the Verizon Chevy still has a 17-point lead. There are 37 laps to go here in California to decide that title. Is there going to be a late race yellow? Is something going to happen to throw a curveball into this one?
And who flinches first or jumps first to make their last pit stop? If you pit on the earlier side, you might need to save fuel. You certainly need to save tire to make it to the finish. But you reduce the risk of being caught out with a yellow. So, Marty, still a lot of questions left in this thing.
Joseph Newgarden has now built a 12-second lead over his teammate from second to third over Will Power. I just asked Tim Cindric a moment ago, do you need caution to make it on one more stop? He said, the last thing I want right now is a caution. I said, can you make it on one stop at this pace if we stay green? He said, I don't know, but keep in mind, I have 2 sets of stickers in my pit stall. I'm trying to make that decision right now. So that could be a game changer. Remember, we talked about Newgarden having this extra set of sticker tires, the alternate sticker tires, which are much quicker. If he could put those on Hinch, that might be an advantage in Newgarden's camp as well. But clearly, he has the fastest car here in Laguna Seca, no question.
I mean, Alex Palou would argue that statement a little bit, but he's definitely in the top 2, Marty. He's just been, I could definitely say he's been the best passer on track. That is without question.
And let me clarify one thing. Tim Cindric knows exactly whether Newgarden can make it to the end. He's just not going to tell us. So they know to less than an ounce of how much fuel is burned into that race car, how much is left at any given moment. They either haven't decided or they're just not telling us. Either way, the information's there. Newgarden, though, doing a great job making the pace work right now. With 2 sticker reds left to use, though, boy, that'd be fascinating to watch. That'd be like 2 qualifying stints.
Graham Rahal and David Malukas. Rahal we ride on board with the United Rentals on board, chasing the 20-year-old rookie who may just be seeing the Rookie of the Year title slip away from his grasp. He was just 5 points down on Christian Lundgaard, but Lundgaard's been having a great race today.
This might answer the question. Look at how competitive Graham Rahal is with 22 laps. Excuse me. Yes, 22 laps on the red tires since his last stop, and Malukas kind of struggling there a little bit. Here comes Newgarden. Marty, what are they going to do?
There's the answer to the question. So Joseph Newgarden coming in, and they're going to put on the sticker alternate tires. Tim Cindric playing what may be the only card he has left at this point, a 13-second gap. Keep that in mind over his teammate Will Power. Remember, outside front, Tim Cindric telling everybody, and they're on a hill. The stop, not bad, but we'll see where he cycles out with his teammate Will Power. So clearly, Townsend, I think with 35 to go, they put themselves in a position they're going to have to pit one more time, but they do have that extra set of sticker alternate tires to work with.
You want to see a charging bull. Watch Newgarden here when he gets tire temperature. He is going to be going 10 tenths to make this work. He comes out, I believe, just behind Pato O'Ward, so Newgarden in 6th. But these lap times over these next 10 laps, Diff, are going to be fierce.
Think about this, though. Everybody was talking points, and we established right at the start of the weekend, you get 54 points is the maximum points haul. For this man, the driver of the Hitachi Chevy, the 2 bonus points for most laps led is now off the table. They belong to Palou, so that makes Joseph's task even harder.
You can hear how aggressive he can get after the throttle.
Well, you got to think, you are 30 seconds, give or take, behind the leader, Alex Palou, and with the tire advantage you've got, it's not unheard of to be a lap faster with 34 laps remaining. So we see Marcus Ericsson on his teammate Scott Dixon in turn 6 there, bold move. Scott's going to try to come back in the corkscrew now.
This is the battle for 15th. Championship contenders having a tough day. Ericsson holds on, but Dixon's on the charge. So look at Palou's lap time, a 16.6 for Palou on that last lap. Power to 16.7. Newgarden's lap here should be really quick, and look at how fast he's now catching Pato O'Ward.
You're going to see Joseph Newgarden lapping in the 14s, and we see some scuffling down in turn 11. McLaughlin all sideways trying to get around Kyle Kirkwood, now side by side with Marcus Ericsson.
He was taking evasive action to get by Kirkwood, ending his rookie season for AJ Foyt Racing, off to Andretti Autosport next year. Now it's Ericsson on McLaughlin. Dixon is a spectator. VK in the bright orange car for Ed Carpenter Racing at the head of this line. You're talking 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th.
And 3 championship contenders right there running nose to tail, not having the pace of their respective teammates. Alex Palou and Will Power running first and second.
And each of these guys, of course, they wanted to win the championship, but then if they can't win the championship, they're going to try and be as high as they possibly can. Alex Palou at the moment is spoiling the party for these other title contenders. McLaughlin around VK. VK must have dropped a wheel at turn 6 there.
And VK is on much older tires than McLaughlin, Ericsson, and Dixon, so it's going to be really tough on those Reds. VK trying to hang on. Need to get to about lap 67 to make it on one more stop. Meanwhile, look at this. Here comes Newgarden past Pato O'Ward. He cleared the 5 driver quickly, and now Newgarden has nothing but clean air in front of him to catch the next car, which will be Felix Rosenqvist. Marty.
On the radio, Tim Cindric said, you have one more stop. Everybody else in the field has one more stop. Meanwhile, when he went by Pato O'Ward, he said, there is no way I am this slow. That shows you the tire fall off. So maybe the tire situation could work out perfectly for Newgarden, who is storming his way through the field and the quickest car on the track by a bunch.
2.5 seconds faster than the race leader on the last lap for Joseph Newgarden. Let's take you back. Let's have a look at Pato O'Ward. Here he is at the corkscrew.
This is him on old tires. Listen to this. Oh, just struggling to lay the power down, and if you're Newgarden on fresh tires, you just have a big old smile knowing there is no way that driver can hold me off. As O'Ward says, what is going on? I'll tell you who's going to say what is going on is Will Power when Newgarden catches him.
Yeah, it's not far off. It's only 7 seconds back right now. And let's get some more on Will Power.
He's been calm on the radio, other than, remember, we heard him talking about he didn't like the wing change made during the second stint. So what are they planning for the final stint?
Keep doing it. What you're doing. Good job. Best lap time for this field number. 3 cents quicker that last lap. Thing goes on. You're going to want that wing put back in. Probably half of it, yeah.
Okay, they're going back halfway. By the way, 3 or 4 laps is when we're going to see Power make his last stop.
32 laps to go. That's it. 32 laps in this race and the 2022 season. And we still have the most fascinating story playing itself out right in front of us here in the California sunshine.
Now, I know that Alex Palou is 20 seconds up the road, but he is now at the tail end of the lead lap. And he has a bunch of cars that don't care about that want to stay on the lead lap, and that are going to fight him pretty hard, including Takuma Sato, who has to let Palou by there. Palou deeper on the brakes, but this is going to help pull Palou back to the other, second through fifth, especially Rosenqvist, Grosjean, Power. That gap should tighten up.
Townsend, I do not like how calmly and casually you said, I know Palou's ahead by 20 seconds. Palou's ahead by 20 seconds. We just had a restart not that long ago, and for a driver, I don't think we've seen anything like this kind of pace advantage the entire season.
Not this season.
Alex Palou definitely trying to put an exclamation point on what has been a bit of a frustrating year for him. No wins yet this year, but well on his way to one today.
So you see number 10 on the helmet, number 10 on the car, number 10 on the check that you got to write Chip Ganassi. That could double by the end of this thing. If Palou keeps up the performance, he's reminded everybody why he's a champion and why he's in such high demand right now in the paddock as Chip Ganassi looks on.
This is shades of Alexander Rossi at Road America when he put 30 seconds on the field. This has been quite the display from the Spaniard, from Chip Ganassi Racing. Getting down to the final third of this race, Kevin Lee. How about it's time for an axe through the field? Kick us off, mate.
So let's start with our leader, Alex Palou, and I'm starting to see a scenario where maybe he's driving that car again next year. I watched he and Chip Ganassi talk for a little while on the grid at Portland last week. I asked him that scenario, and he said I probably shouldn't answer that, but it might be a possibility. What better way to finish up the championship this year with a win going into the offseason? Behind him is the championship leader, Will Power. So he was thrilled to be able to pass Mario Andretti for the most poles all time yesterday and score the point and control this race, but immediately started thinking about what Marty talked about, extra sets of reds for the championship contenders. He was greatly concerned about that option for Joseph Newgarden. It might still come into play. Running third is Romain Grosjean. That's where he finished with a brilliant drive to finish off last year's race. And just like last year, guys, he's got a set of sticker reds when they stop here in a couple of laps, Marty.
How about Joseph Newgarden? 5 laps into this run, he's already cut 9 seconds out of the deficit, came out 30 seconds behind. Now he is 21 seconds behind.
Here he comes.
He told me yesterday, and here he comes, passing for another spot. Newgarden up through the field, guys. Impressive.
That's his signature move.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Romain Grosjean did to Jimmy Johnson last year. But Newgarden was a little smoother and a little nicer, and another stellar pass executed.
So important that he made quick work of those cars. Newgarden is clear. Newgarden is third, and Newgarden is less than 3 seconds behind his teammate Will Power now.
From 25th on the grid, Joseph Newgarden back on level playing field and in the mix. Go for a ride with Grosjean, but make sure you focus on looking left. Through turn 6, onto the Rahal straight, and here he comes.
He was so far alongside before they even got to the brake zone. Didn't have to be quite as brave as what we've seen him pull off before. He would have been on push to pass. You get 150 seconds of push to pass here as more pit stops are happening, Marty.
You heard Pat O'Ward said, man, I can't be this slow, can I? They told him, listen, everybody is struggling on the tires. You see him coming to pit road. They did talk about adding an extra stop, and they said, that will not help us. We're too late to the game on that. Christian Lundgaard also coming to pit road. He's having a terrific run, by the way, Diff, for the rookie. He struggled in the test here, but they have been very impressive today. On the radio a moment ago, Tim Cindric told Joseph Newgarden, everybody's going to pit here in a few laps. You run as hard as you can. This is our moment.
Gotta go. Got to try and build up a gap as much as he can.
There he is.
And there is the championship leader and teammate up ahead.
In Newgarden's sights and closing quickly. When does Power pit? Right now. Now Newgarden stays out. You go 10/10ths like qualifying. You go for the overcut and see if you can jump Power.
You use that push to pass on these laps right now if you're Joseph Newgarden to get the best advantage you can. Kevin Lee's down there.
Here comes Will Power with the championship lead. Remember, he doesn't need to win the race. He just needs to stay in front and control. He's got a set of sticker blacks for this Firestone. Last stint, he's back out Speedway fuel.
A little bit of a slow getaway, having to drive around the crew of, I believe, Alexander Rossi. It looks like they're set up as the 27 dives to pit lane. But let's watch how this blend happens. We're trying to keep an eye on where he comes up. Here's McLaughlin and Ericsson now.
So McLaughlin's going to need to play nice here and try not to go by his teammate. Let Will Power stay where he is, and that is playing out. Hinch, you mentioned about the 150 seconds of push to pass to get that extra burst. Newgarden is at 40 seconds remaining. Power has an additional 20. He's at 60 seconds left in the bank.
And this is where Newgarden's going to be turning as quick a lap as he can, probably for the next several. And McLaughlin has been instructed by Kyle Moyer, his strategist, not to interfere at this point in the race as Alex Palou jumps red on the pylon and heads to pit lane.
And he's got primary Firestones for the last stint. I noticed the tires were out, but when Power made the stop, even though they were coming a lap early, didn't really impact Power because he had an easy in. There's an easy out for Alex Palou, trying to finish the season with a win.
That puts Joseph Newgarden to the lead of this race, so now Newgarden trying everything he can to open up a huge gap on Palou before Newgarden has to make his last stop.
Big thanks to our stat guru, Russ Thompson, just handed us a note. Because of the way the bonus points have been allocated already, it makes it tougher for this guy. If Will Power is in the top 5, the championship goes to the driver of the Verizon 5G Chevy. But it is not over yet. 27 to go here at Laguna Seca.
Back at Laguna, pit stops underway for more of our championship contenders. Here's Scott Dixon in. Pace just hasn't been there, just a little bit slow again on the left side. The left rear looked like for Dixon. We'll see where he blends.
It's getting increasingly difficult for the driver of the 9 to get that record equaling 7th IndyCar championship. But again, far from over. 25 to go here in California. And one more stop left for Joseph Newgarden, who leads this race.
At the front of this field, look at the gap between Newgarden and his teammate Will Power. 25 seconds. You lose about 28 seconds with the pit stop, which Newgarden's going to have to make. Think about this. If Newgarden can continue his pace, Marty, pit and get out in front of Will Power, if Marcus Ericsson passes Will Power with Grosjean coming, this whole championship can be wide open for Newgarden.
Yeah, a moment ago before Alex Palou pitted, Tim Cindric radioed to Newgarden and kind of gave him a picture of what he needed to do in the final 28 laps of the race. Listen.
We're 20 seconds behind Palou. He is not pitted, so that's what we need to make up here in the next 10.5. Okay.
So
we'll have to make a tire decision.
So the next stint and a half is what he had to do that. He's already made up a lot of that time. I think they're going to pit at about lap 77 or 78. You see his teammate Scott McLaughlin again, once again covering what Scott Dixon did. So I think in about 7 or 8 more laps, you're going to see Newgarden on pit road for the final time today. Does he have enough speed to be able to pull this off?
Just looking at the lap times right now, Alex Palou is the fastest driver on the racetrack with 15.1 to Joseph Newgarden's 15.8. 8-lap newer tires for Palou, but he is on the primaries.
Look at the speed, sorry James, of Grosjean. Grosjean, the quickest car, one of the quickest cars on the track. Grosjean and Ericsson passing Will Power changes everything for Newgarden. So it is all to play for right here, on board with Grosjean. He's got Sato, the lap car, in his way, and then up ahead of Grosjean is Marcus Ericsson and Will Power. Grosjean on reds right now. It's going to be tough to make those work, though, down the distance. Track temp now 115, highest of the day.
Ericsson's just over 2 seconds ahead. Here is the white and red Husky Chocolate Honda. Just over 2 seconds ahead of Grosjean. There he is there, flashing in the background. The Arrow McLaren boys are still in the mix. They're in 6th and 7th with Rosenqvist over O'Ward. The top rookie in the series, Christian Lundgaard of Denmark, is in 8th at the moment. And this went down a little earlier between Marcus Ericsson and the recently pitted Scott McLaughlin.
McLaughlin doing his best to protect his teammate Will Power up ahead. McLaughlin trying to defend, keeping it tight on Ericsson, and Ericsson,
you saw him just let off the brake there to try to get that extra car length he needed to get alongside. And now the race leader is in, Marty.
Here we go. Joseph Newgarden coming down pit road. He came to pit road with a 24-second lead, now 25 over Alex Palou. They're going to make a switch here. They have thought about the alternate tires. They're going to go with sticker primary tires for Joseph Newgarden, and his team delivers an outstanding stop. Let's see where he cycles out with Alex Palou.
There's the white and black car, Will Power, going by on the front straightaway. Excuse me, that's Dalton Kellett. So Power is the next car back as Ericsson comes in.
Dylan's there, go.
And they'll put sticker primaries on for his last set. Remember what he said, when I came to America, just wanted to be competitive for wins and championships. He's in the fight for it. They're going to need some luck on their side, but Ericsson's still in the hunt.
Thanks, Dylan. 22 laps to go. That's it for the 2022 season. And Newgarden has performed his final stop.
And he got out ahead of Will Power. Super important for Newgarden. He made it work on pace. Now he is on fresh reds or fresh blacks. Fresh blacks there.
So on the same tire as the leader, Alex Palou, but the pace Palou has been incredible. Last lap time was a 14.7, guys. One of the fastest laps of the race altogether. So to pit from the lead and still come out in second, incredibly impressive from Joseph Newgarden and the 2 crew. 5.2 Townsend, that's got to be the quickest stop we've seen.
That's because they didn't have to fully fill it,
for
right?
Sure.
So maybe they left him a little bit short because he only needs 20 laps to the finish. So his car will be lighter. He's on better tires than Will Power. But how in the world can Newgarden reel in Palou with the pace that he's showing? He's on another level, Alex Palou.
And the other variable is that Romain Grosjean is only, say, 2.5 seconds behind Will Power. Power doesn't want to start losing more positions with this guy, Joseph Newgarden, on the surge. Quick reminder that American Legion is dedicated to helping veterans through their toughest times by creating an outlet for vets to be the one to ask, listen, and reach out for help. You can learn more at www.betheone.org. And it's been great to have American Legion's involvement in the NTT IndyCar Series, especially with Chip Ganassi Racing, with Alex Palou, with Tony Kanaan, with Jimmy Johnson, and the whole team.
What a clinical drive right now from Alex Palou, running along the NTT data onboard. It's just incredible to see how smooth he is with his hands. Was it the surgeon you call him, the doctor?
He is the surgeon.
The precision.
Listen, whether it's heart or brain, this is the guy you want on the scalpel because he is so precise, he's so methodical, he is so well prepared, and despite all of the total drama going on professionally and legally in his life, he is totally unfazed. He's not rattled at all. He's not distracted. He's getting it done today.
And that driving style is exactly what you need here at this racetrack with how tough this surface is on these Firestone tires. Again, we've talked a lot about degradation. It's not necessarily a tire issue. This is a track issue. The surface here incredibly rough. So rough they are going to repave it next year. This will be the last NTT IndyCar race we have with the current pavement before it gets redone this offseason. But this man with this smooth style is taking care of those Firestones beautifully.
And almost 22 seconds in front. Now, while we mentioned that he hasn't had any victories this year, there has been a slew of podiums, both runner-up finishes and third places. Scott Dixon here on David Malukas, that's for 13th. Graham Rahal is the next one on his list.
Scott might just try and get two for there. He was thinking about it. Graham Rahal, good drive off of turn 2, though.
And Dixon has incentive here to push. He's third in the championship as they run right now. Palou would be 4th, Ericsson 5th. But Dixon to finish third in the championship, not terrible. He's always at the front. It doesn't look like a win or a championship win is on today as he comes up to the back of Graham Rahal.
He has been a title contender in 11 of his 21 seasons. When you want a guy to be a champion, he is 6 times. When you want him to be contending all the time, Scott Dixon's your man, and he could still finish top 3 here today. You know that throughout the IndyCar racing season, we've been telling you about this, which is really cool, and it's very easy. Simply grab your mobile device, scan the QR code on your screen for a chance to win $25,000 at HiVDeals.com. It's simple. Scan the QR code and register to win, and we say thanks again to our friends at HiVDeals.com. This is the Hy-Vee Honda for Jack Harvey of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Been a bit of a rough year for Jack. Had a couple of big crashes, one at St. Pete, one at Texas. Missed the Texas race and has been piecing it all back together in the Hy-Vee Honda and trying to finish on a high. He's in 19th place at the moment with 16 laps to go in this championship race. Joseph Newgarden, the first car you see there, number 2, is running second at the moment, some 25.5 seconds behind Alex Palou, who continues to just demolish this field. You got the 2 Team Penske cars here, second and third. Will Power at this stage, as you see on your screen, would have a 16-point advantage. Let's talk more about the guy at the top. Here's Kevin.
And he might be in position for championship number 2, but let's go back to the end of 2008 when Will Power's career was in serious jeopardy. We spent some time talking about that Friday morning. He didn't have an IndyCar ride. His eventual wife, Liz, talked him into turning down a deal in another series with just a hope that something better would come along. And then the opportunity with Team Penske arrived because of Helio Castroneves' tax case. But the only certainty was testing to start, and that's one of the reasons he got the opportunity. He didn't ask for any guarantees, just wanted to get his foot in the door. He did one race for Helio. When Helio came back in the middle of Long Beach weekend, they slid him into a third car, the Verizon car, won pole, finished second. He bet on himself, and I'm not sure that too many people thought another championship was a possibility, but Will Power today is on the brink of number 2 at 41 years old.
And it didn't look like it, Kevin, when he was standing with us on the pre-race grid on the pre-show, meaning his facial expressions, but he has told us over the past couple of weeks, I'm already an Indy 500 winner, I'm already an NTT IndyCar Series champion. I don't have that stress of that anymore. I want to enjoy this. I'm enjoying my driving. I'm 41 years old now, so I want to enjoy it. But the look of intensity on his face pre-race was all business.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension in the air this morning, and most of it was coming out of the 12 camp. You know, Will Power has come into the championship finale, including today, 5 times. 3 of them, he did not leave. Sorry, in the championship finale, leading the points. 3 of them, he didn't leave with the championship. He did in 2014, and he's definitely looking good today, but he knows that pain of defeat when leading the last
the championship into the last race and not coming away with the title. You can see here, 2010 lost by 5, 12 going in, lost by 5, 11 lost by 18 in 2011, 17 lost by 3 in 2012. Just devastating results, but in 14 he won it. And what's going to happen today?
And what would be the difference between that first championship and this, a potential second?
I remember my first championship, it was just, excruciating. Not sleeping, the stress. This one is just enjoying the craft and feeling very fortunate to be in this position again. You're given a car every week that has a chance to win or a chance to get pole, and if you do everything right, a chance to win a championship.
You know what, though? I love the intensity. Yeah. It's part of his DNA, and it's part of why he, this weekend, became the undisputed fastest man in the history of this sport by taking the outright pole position record for Mario Andretti. 68 poles in an era with a common chassis. Everybody's in the same basic race car. 2 different engines with Honda and Chevy, bunch of different race teams, but it's the same block of wood that everybody starts with. And I think for power, I know how important that record is for him because it reflects speed, and speed comes from intensity diff and crazy focus, crazy fast hands, and a super rapid fire processor in terms of his ability to do things at a very high frequency, and I hope he never changes. It's why he's one of the best. And
it was beautiful yesterday afternoon to watch the legend Mario Andretti come into the media scrum where Will was surrounded after getting the NTTP1 award, to hug him and shake his hand and say, well done, you're a deserving record holder. And Will countered that by saying, I'm not sure about that. When you were racing, it was so much more dangerous, and the tracks that you had to race on. And so it was a little bit of a mutual admiration society. A couple of legends of the sport.
Well, if Will's the fastest man in the history of the sport, the guy to the right, the coolest guy in any racing paddock, Mario Andretti, certainly the bravest.
No doubt about it, man. I mean, all-time GOAT right there. He did everything in everything, won it all, but so great to see him there in pit lane when Will took the record. I think Mario knew it was sort of a matter of time, and as he said, it's gone to a good man. He's a big admirer of Will Power.
And with 13 to go, 13 laps to go, AJ Foyt, AJ Supertex, we know you're watching from home. Your record 7 NTT IndyCar Series championships is looking safe at the moment this afternoon. It's going to be pushed to 2023 for a reset challenge for Scott Dixon and the PNC Bank Honda crew.
There's a quick look back at Marcus Ericsson into the corkscrew on Colton Herta. A little bit of contact there. Oh, sorry, that is corkscrew. Yeah. Oh, trip through the grass here for the 26.
Been a lot of this from Ericsson today. It's like he heard me in the pre-race saying, come on, I want to see some aggression. Oh. What a save that was. I have never seen that much yaw down the wrong side of the corkscrew and someone still drive it away. That was cool.
Yeah, with how much of an incline there is, you're going downhill, the way to the back of the car, usually with that much yaw, you're going around. That was a great save and ultimately kept Colton Herta in front.
Oh, look at that. McLaughlin sneaking in on Ericsson.
Ericsson has since got, oh, wow.
Well, they've had some scraps today. I think that was a little bit of a payback from Scott McLaughlin. Here he comes, charging around the outside. That was obviously at the next lap.
And a 2-for-1 there. Colton Herta losing 2 spots. He went a bit wide on the outside of the corkscrew for McLaughlin, and on the outside of turn 9 for Ericsson. All these drivers just trying to hang on to what's left of their tires right now, make it to the end, handful of laps to go as we watch our leader navigate some lap traffic. I'm still just blown away by this gap, 27 seconds. It's not like Newgarden, Power, and Grosjean are just lollygagging back there. They're driving 10-10s, but this driver of the 10 is just pulling away non-stop.
Continues to add to it. By the way, with that move by Scott McLaughlin on Marcus Ericsson, they're now tied for 5th in the championship, but Scott McLaughlin would get it by having more race wins.
That's right.
So it looks like they're fighting for the minor positions, but there's a bigger story at play.
A little bit wide there from Grosjean in the 28. See behind him Felix Rosenquist in a bit of a battle there.
Grosjean's done a pretty impressive job. The only driver in the top 15 to finish on red tires, trying to hang on and make that softer compound work. You see that yellow and red DHL car hanging in the background, trying to make a gain on Will Power. Marty, how are things going for Newgarden?
Well, Townsend, an outstanding day and an outstanding drive for Joseph Newgarden from 25th to 2nd. Is going to come up short, looks like, for the race win and also for the championship, barring a late caution here with 11 laps to go. You know, Newgarden told me yesterday, it's his wife Ashley watches on, after the race at Nashville, I had to call a team meeting. I called my guys in and I apologized to them. I said, guys, I've been putting too much pressure on myself. I've been putting too much on my shoulders and I need to let it go. I need to go have fun. He said, you know what? End of the season, let's go have fun. Let's go race. They went out the next week. They won St. Louis and today nearly made a rally to win this championship. Ashley has a lot to be proud about for her husband today. It's going to come up short, as we said, barring a caution, but Joseph Newgarden has really rallied this team. And I'm telling you, Townsend, if they get a few breaks to go their way next year, this guy could be very tough to beat when it comes to the championship.
No question. You just think about that devastating result in race 2 at Iowa. Newgarden was untouchable that weekend, had a mechanical failure, ended up going to the hospital that night, was able to come back the next week in Indianapolis, but he is so resilient. He has so much grit and so much talent. And think about, after the devastation of the qualifying mistake yesterday, if you would have told Newgarden, hey, you're going to beat Will Power in the race from the last row, you're going to finish 2nd, but you're not going to get the championship. I mean, I don't know if you take those odds at the time. A super unlikely scenario. Newgarden's made it work, though, today.
He has, but it ultimately, if everything finishes as is, will come up short, and that's going to be the devastation. Now, you think of what Joseph Newgarden, what Scott Dixon are going to sit there and look at the end of this season and think of, okay, where were those points lost? Where was that gap made? And you're going to lose some sleep over both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Newgarden's 16 behind right now. How many did he lose at Iowa?
Well,
probably 40?
There's the Iowa story, but think about the Indianapolis 500. For Scott Dixon, 1 mile an hour over on the pit lane speed limit. Penalized, gone to the back. Scott McLaughlin crashed out. Joseph Newgarden, 13th. I mean, there was a big hammer dropped on a lot of these contenders there, except for Marcus Ericsson, who maximized. Will Power was 15th that day.
Everybody has a different story on the path to this championship battle this weekend. But so far, all 5 of those drivers have driven like champions today. So many things to be proud of, whether it's Will Power and the way that he's just been so smooth and consistent, the hard charge from Newgarden from the back, McLaughlin making moves, Ericsson getting aggressive, Scott Dixon doing Dixon-like things. You can make an argument for any of them, James.
Not an undeserving driver in the bunch.
What happened here with the race leader, Alex Palou, dropping a wheel, turn 3, down in that back of the curbside gutter. Listen to this.
And just when it seems all so easy, that's when you really have to double your focus.
Sometimes
tiny mistake can lead to a very big issue here at Laguna Seca.
A 30-second margin can sometimes be a bad thing, because you almost do, you know, it is easier to let your mind wander and lose your focus a little bit. You see the graphic there, 18 races since his last IndyCar win. Hasn't been able to get one on the board this year. Was so close at Mid-Ohio. You could argue was sort of robbed by a yellow flag there. But he's had that same sort of steely consistency and composure that we saw him use last year to such great effect and take the crown. It just hasn't been with quite the same pace, and that's really across the entire Chip Ganassi Racing organization in comparison to Penske, which has just absolutely dominated this year.
By the way, just looping back around to earlier in the race, this has only had 1 caution for 3 laps. That was because of Callum Ilott and the Juncos Hollinger car. Our pit folks did speak with him. It was simple as this. It was a blown motor. Put him from the front row. He was in the top 5, running well after his first pit stop or 2, and then it just gave up exiting pit lane. So final 7 laps of this 2022 season, which has been quite a remarkable season, one of the most memorable for a long time.
This is top 5 in the championship right here if Ericsson can get past McLaughlin, so I think he'll be very aggressive with 7 to go. Alexander Rossi looks to be struggling a bit to hang on in front of McLaughlin, so Ericsson's getting set up nicely potentially for a late move.
And up the road just a little bit from this group, Felix Rosenqvist got around Romain Grosjean for 4th, so those red tires, Townsend,
that Grosjean gambled on for that last stint, maybe starting to creep up on him, losing a little bit of lap time.
There you see push to pass seconds remaining. Rossi, McLaughlin, and Ericsson all very equal. McLaughlin just burned 2 seconds on that front straightaway.
And how about the rookie Christian Lundgaard right now, running 6th.
Excellent.
Just behind former Formula One driver Romain Grosjean, just in front of Indy 500 champion from 2016, Alexander Rossi. He's asserted himself in a great way, and that is going to tie the bow for him on the Rookie of the Year title. A phenomenal way to end the season if he's able to hold on.
And look, it has been just such a busy year for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. They've got their IMSA WeatherTech sports car program, but that was a different car for this year. They're opening a new $25 million facility to house both their IndyCar and the new BMW LMDH program. They've got that coming up. They've got so many sports car tests coming up before the Rolex 24 in January, running 3 IndyCars full-time, and this young man has given some of the high points of the season to his new team.
He really has, and he loves racing in IndyCar. Danish driver will head home for a couple months after this race weekend. He's looking forward to spending time with his girlfriend and his parents in his native country, but he loves being in the U.S. like so many F1 test drivers, F1 race drivers that come into this series. They just fall in love with the atmosphere, the competition, and these race cars. Lundgaard getting it done.
And there are 2 gentlemen from Denmark, from his hometown, who notice this guy as a youngster. They don't want any exposure for that. There's no company name, no sponsorship per se. They just offered funding for him ever since he was a youngster. They're here this weekend to see this guy en route to winning the IndyCar Rookie of the Year title.
And I like watching Lundgaard and so many other drivers now taking a note out of Scott Dixon's book. I mean, so many people are running wide of apexes now in this closing part of the race. It's looking like Knoxville on a Saturday night. I mean, everybody, who would have thought you would have ridden the cushion around a road course in California, but many drivers now making it happen as Liz Power and the entire 12 team in prayer that Will can get it done here.
That's the most nervous woman here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, but we know that that's kind of Liz's shtick, if you will. She squashes the water bottle. There's usually no water left in it. She crinkles it, she bites it, she twists it.
I want to race down there and tell her to breathe.
She's got her mum with her, who is pretty much here most of the time as well.
She's got her phone up, watching on Peacock, no doubt, to keep track of the action, which is great to see. Look at the nerves in the whole group. Holding hands.
That's Liz's mom, Kathy.
And it's 5 to go.
I think she just heard us.
Yeah. Not much longer, Liz. Hang on, just 5 more laps. So far, your man's doing what needs to be done to bring home championship number 2.
Their little man, their son, Bo, he's not in that picture, but Bo's here to watch Dad become a 2-time IndyCar champion in 3.5 laps time. Will paid tribute to his team last weekend and also yesterday after getting that record-setting pole. He just loves the environment with his guys, the men and women of Team Penske, the number 12 side from the Verizon Chevy. He get paid tribute to them for everything they've done, the cohesive unit that they are. Roger Penske, the captain, is here, as you would imagine, the owner of the series, the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this unbelievably successful 16-time championship-winning team.
I mean, just think of the season this organization's had, the number of wins. Incredible. They've been dominant on every type of racetrack, Townsend tracks that last year were sort of weak spots for them. As we see some action further back, this McLaughlin, Rossi, Ericsson battle continues to the end here.
McLaughlin saying, I want 5th in the championship. He's 2 points clear of Ericsson as they run right now, but I think Ericsson comes level as he passes Rossi.
And not giving up. Oh, Marcus dirt tracking.
Now Rossi gets the run, and Ericsson's tires are going to be filthy for the next couple of corners.
Not just the dirt, but all the marbles that he would have driven through there on the exit of turn 4. He's going to have to work hard to clean them up.
So there you see the points as they run right now. Those 3 Penske cars with Power, Newgard, and McLaughlin all in the top 5. And Team Penske came to this race leading, what, 59% of the laps all season? Outside of the Indy 500, it's been totally dominant as you get to see Ericsson's on board here. Look at McLaughlin drive Rossi over. He's not going to appreciate that.
No, it didn't really leave Alex Rossi much room at all on the exit.
And then Ericsson kind of forces Rossi a bit wide, and watch Rossi here. Whoa. It's almost like he was aiming for him and missed, James.
Marcus opened his hands up, and then right there, I think Alex got on the curb. There's a big apex curb in the middle of 4 there.
How do you get on an airplane with Rossi flying after watching him drive like that in about an hour's time?
Luckily, that doesn't have to happen, so we're good. We're good. But this man has been the class of the field all day long, no doubt about it. They took a bit of a gamble in qualifying Q3. They threw on the primaries rather than going with the used alternates. Ultimately had an engine penalty anyway, but man, he has shown.
How do you like that communication? 30-second lead, strategist says smooth, driver says copy.
Got it.
That's what you sound like when you're totally in control.
Absolutely.
And less than 5 miles to go before Alex Palou gets his first win of 2022 at the last possible chance. Will Power on target to become a multi-time champ. There's little Bo, Liz and Will's son. And what a special time for him to be here to see Daddy victorious. Not far now, not long to go. Into the Andretti hairpin for the second to last time.
I just love the mindset Will Power's had all year long. You hear it in that interview. He's just so appreciative of the situation he's in, of the success that he's had. He's driving free and he's driving fast, and he's about to add to what's already been an incredible storybook career.
And it wasn't that long ago that there was a young kid in the IndyCar paddock with a mohawk, and that was Colton Herta. I wonder what might be in Bo Power's future as Alex Palou comes through turn 11 one final time. White flag out.
1 more to go.
All right, last lap.
2.5 miles for Alex. Yes, sir, says Alex Palou. Is this the last time we see him in Chip Ganassi colors? Is this the final lap that we see him in Chip Ganassi colors? Or is there more to the story that will unfold in the off-season and more particularly over the next month? As he lights it up out of turn 3, Powell will come and get the white flag in the bottom part of the screen to take 1 more lap en route to career title number 2. 1 more to go for Power. Hit your marks is the call, copy is the response.
And at this point, as a driver, you're still laser focused, but you're thinking to yourself, take it all in. Hit every apex, don't miss your marks, but don't forget to enjoy the last laps at Laguna Seca before they repave it. It will never drive like this again. On a glorious day, both Power and Palou, masters of their craft.
This guy has been able to block out the turbulence, block out the distraction, block out the legal dramas and all the chit-chat online and on social media. This has been an exceptional display from Alex Palou. It's Hello Palou at the season finale.
Oh boy, thank you so much, guys.
Alex finishes on the highest possible note to be the 9th different winner this year. Well, this is what it feels like to be a champion. Riding home. It has been a long time. 2014 was his first NTT IndyCar Series championship. He is a long way from home, a long way from Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia. But Will Power joins some very famous names as a 2-time NTT IndyCar Series champion. Power has done it.
Oh man, that sounds surreal. Honestly, it sounds surreal. I cannot thank you guys enough. It was absolutely a team effort this year. You guys were absolutely flawless all the year, and I owe it to you to have just driven my heart out today. So thank you and congratulations, guys.
And it means a lot right across the team and the family. And Will joins names like Tom Snever, Bobby Unser, Al Unser Jr., Alex Zanardi, Gilles de Ferran, who's here today, and his teammate Joseph Newgarden as 2-time IndyCar champions.
Just incredible all season long. He does it on the back of only 1 victory, which just shows how impressive and consistent that this team was throughout the year. I think only 1 race out, or only a small number of races outside the top 10. That kind of consistently, constantly in the top 3, top 4.
And we've talked about it all season, how Will Power came into this 2022 season with a big mental adjustment. So hard to do as an athlete at any time, especially late in your career. Will Power, 41 years old, to make that kind of change is so impressive, and I'm so thrilled for him to see that he was rewarded. He had to completely rethink his game. Take a 3rd place when that's all he had. Take a 5th place or a 9th place. And it was such an adjustment to what he was used to, which was win at all costs all the time. And to see it rewarded today is really special.
To begin the season, he was kind of Mr. 4th place. 3rds and 4ths to start the year, took the lead of the championship before even winning a race. And he said, I worked so hard on it in the off-season to be better, to be mentally stronger, to not have the highs and lows, be more in the middle. Now it's time to celebrate.
You just love seeing the emotion. It just really shows what a team effort it is to be IndyCar champions. You know, everybody on this 12 program, everyone in the Penske organization has to play their part. All the men and women back at the shop, everyone that travels on the road. Will's family, his support system. You see the emotion out of wife Liz. This truly is a team sport and a team effort.
And how about this guy, Joseph Newgarden, 2nd on the day, 2nd in the championship. He drove his heart out. From 25th, it was an incredible drive. All right, let's join the celebrations. Here's Marty Snyder.
What a moment for Will Power. His longtime engineer, Dave Faustino, at 41 years old, he's a champion. On Saturday, he passes Mario Andretti for the all-time pole wins. On Sunday, he wins a championship. Could you have planned out a more perfect weekend than this, Will?
No, I couldn't have. Let me tell you, in the off-season, my wife said to me, I believe you're going to beat Mario's record and you're going to win the championship. She said that to me, and it actually gave me confidence that I could do it. The fact that she said that, that's how much confidence I have in her gut feel. So she said those words, and I just couldn't believe that that came true.
So you won the championship, Will, by playing the long game, by staying calm. What were you thinking as you saw Joseph Newgarden go past you? Were you thinking it might be all unraveling at that point?
I just knew I had to absolutely get the most out of those stints and not lose any more positions. So, man, I had to drive the thing today. Like, it was on the edge, very loose, and man, what a relief, huh? What a relief to get that done. You know, I can't thank Verizon enough. They've been with me for it's close to 12 years now, and you know, without them, I would never have had this career, and obviously Roger Penske and the whole team and Chevrolet.
You told me yesterday you had to change your mental approach this year. There were times where you had to hold yourself back in a race because the old Will would have tried to win the race, but you had to say, it's okay to finish 2nd, it's okay to finish 3rd. How much of that mental adjustment has led to this moment?
Oh, yeah, I mean, from the beginning, it was just playing the long game. I said it to Tim Cindric. I said, man, I'm just playing the long game this year, not necessarily going for the big wins and all that, but yeah. Bozy.
How about this young man, Bose, and sharing this moment with him? Oh, what a moment for the Power family. Bose celebrating, Liz celebrating. Will Power is now a 2-time IndyCar champion.
And Marty, appropriate that we are talking to last year's champion. The rain is over. You told me, Alex Palou, yesterday morning that it's not been a good year with the performance on track. Does winning the season finale help make up for that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, we struggle a bit some races. Yeah, especially last couple of races. And today was awesome. So yeah, awesome job by all the team. Strategy was on point. Oh wow, that's me. And then yeah, it's good to finish a season with a win.
It was a set setback to have to change the engine, and you had to start 6 spots further back. But was that fresh Honda engine maybe a difference maker? You won by half a minute. How did you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. We had some power there and some good fuel mileage. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, HPD. So yeah, I don't know, man. It was just an awesome day. Struggled. Thank you. Struggled a bit during all weekend, and I don't know what happened today, but everything clicked. So yeah, super happy to win a race this year.
Chip Ganassi is right behind us. I saw him lean into the cockpit when you pulled into victory lane. Is this your last race in the 10 car? Might we see you back in this car next year?
Yeah, things are evolving good, so yeah, we'll see what we can tell. But yeah, we're gonna enjoy the moment now, and we'll see what happens.
Stay tuned. Congratulations on a strong finish. Alex Palou, last year's champion, finishes as a winner in 2022.
The 9th different winner this year. So Palou gets the race, but this guy gets the championship. And the belief in the words from his wife that he would be the pole win record man and the champion in the 1 year, those 2 predictions have come to fruition. From Liz Power to her husband behind the wheel, he's lived up to his name. Will's done it. We're not finished yet from Laguna. So after 17 rounds, 17 races, the points look like this. 16 was the margin for Will Power over his Team Penske teammate, Joseph Newgarden. There is Joseph. And then Scott Dixon picking up another top 3 in his illustrious career. And by the way, Scott McLaughlin making a couple of quick passes on the last few laps. He's in a tiebreaker for 4th, but wins it courtesy of his 3 race victories over Alex Palou and Marcus Ericsson, finishing in the top 6. So as everyone begins their championship debrief, here's the children's miracle moment of the race. Well, it all started in qualifying yesterday with this highly uncharacteristic crash, an unforced error by Joseph Newgarden. He said he felt quite relaxed going into the race. He was the man on the move, pulling off moves everywhere, but particularly at the corkscrew, and went from 25th to 2nd. That was deserving of the Children's Miracle Network moment of the race. Dylan?
And man, what a day, what a drive it was. Joseph, I know, is exhausted after the effort you put in today. How do you process this? A day where you, Morgan, scoot over here so we don't get run over by the car here. How do you process this? A day where you fought so hard, did everything in your power almost to get it done, and still fell short in the championship?
You know, I hate to say it, but in a lot of ways, this has been a really tough year. So it's gonna be a welcome offseason. Mentally, it's been a taxing season. You know, we've had a lot of highs, but we've had a lot of lows, and just riding the roller coaster this year has brought me to a breaking point at a couple points in the year. But I'm ultimately I'm proud of the team. You know, this is a big day for everybody. You know, to win the championship, it's huge. Congrats to Will and the entire team. I mean, this is an effort by everybody, you know, whether it's the 2 car or the 12 or the 3, you know, we all take a lot of pride in it. All these crew members, they work on every single car. So, you know, the ultimate goal is to win a championship for Team Penske. We did that, and so there's a ton to be proud of. You know, from a personal side in the 2 car, I'm really thankful to my team. They stuck with it day after day. We even yesterday, you know, with the heartache there, we came back, we fought. You know, we nearly got there. So I'm just proud of the effort, proud to be supported by Hitachi and Team Chevy. We're going to come back stronger next year. We got to be in a different position, and I know we can do better than we did this year.
And that's what I was going to say. You still had a successful year, all things considered. 5 wins. There were some that got away, obviously. But how much are you looking forward? How optimistic are you about next year and this race and you being over there instead of your teammate?
I'm very optimistic. You know, I'll go back. I'm going to recharge. I'm going to come back and hit all these people harder. And believe me, I'll be ready to go by the time we get to St. Pete, and I look forward to it.
All right, he's calling a shot. Thank you, Joseph. He ends the year with 5 wins and 2nd in points today.
Dylan, my quick math says this is the 14th time Scott Dixon, a 6-time champ, has finished in the top 3 in the championship. You knew it was going to be difficult from where you were starting, and you tried to do something different. What ultimately decided that it just wasn't going to be your day today?
Yeah, we ultimately just didn't have the pace. You know, I think it was definitely a strange race in the fact that, you know, we tried everything that we could. We tried to kind of short stop, kind of kept coming out in traffic, and we had one run there where we actually got clean air and our pace was as good as the leaders, you know, for that whole run. So you know, just frustrating. I think that we couldn't bring what we needed to today. Congrats to Palou, and then obviously a big congrats to Will Power. You know, it was a tremendous year that he ran there, and congratulations on his second championship. So, yeah, you win some, you lose some, man. I know this team never gave up. We pushed as hard as we could all year, and you know, unfortunately, we ended up third.
Still been a pretty special year. You have crossed a couple of big milestones and are showing you are still very much at the top of your game. How strong is your drive to get number 7 next year?
That's it's all that matters, man. You know, that and the Indy 500. So, you know, we'll be pushing. Maybe it'll be next year, maybe it won't, but maybe it'll be the year after that. So we'll keep pushing as hard as possible to make these possible. But you know, massive thanks to NTT and everybody involved, and big thank you to PNC Bank and Honda and everybody that's worked so hard, and this team especially, across all 4 cars. So it's been a pleasure and very proud moment for me to be a part of this team, and unfortunately we didn't do it.
Thank you, Scott. Have a good offseason.
Thanks, man.
He's always there, isn't he? Scott Dixon is ever present when championships are on the line. So when we come back, it's time to actually crown a champion. Yes, the big trophy and all the accolades are waiting for that man there, Will Power. That's next.
Welcome back to Laguna Seca. Time to hand out the championship trophy, the Astor Challenge Cup for the IndyCar champion. That would be Will Power, the 2-time champion. But before we get things going with that, let's do a little championship celebration with the manufacturer's title. That goes to Chevrolet this year. Let's welcome up on stage Jim Campbell from Chevrolet, the Vice President of Motorsports and Performance, and also Jim Danahy, the Vice President of Engineering, and Jay Fry, the President of IndyCar, to hand out the Manufacturers Championship Trophy to Chevrolet. And what a fantastic year it was for them. Jay, I'll let you do the honors. Well, Jim, what a terrific year it was for Chevy. I mean, you get to cap it off also with a title. Not a bad way to end it.
Oh, Will Power, the number 12 Penske team, Verizon team. Great job, guys. Way to go. And they're one of many Chevy teams. Team Penske, Arrow McLaren SP, AJ Foyt Racing, Ed Carpenter Racing, Yukos Hollinger, and also Pret Autosport. They all prepared for the season and brought valuable manufacturer points to Chevy. We couldn't be prouder. Our 7th time in 11 years, so thanks to all the Team Chevy partners for bringing it home.
There you go. Congratulations to you guys at Team Chevy.
Great, and quick thank you to our friends at Ilmore. Thank you, Paul Ray, Mary Illian, and your team. Great job.
A season's worth of work comes home with the manufacturer's title for Chevrolet, and you got to love Will Power's crew. They're down here hanging out, ready to celebrate the champion. How about that? In order to celebrate the champion, we need him up here. Everyone, the 2-time IndyCar champion, Will Power. Bo's going to go with Mom over there. Let's also welcome up to the stage the president of Team Penske, Tim Cindric, everyone. All right. To begin the championship celebration, let's welcome up Kurt Bruns from Johnston's for the championship ring presentation. Kurt, come on up. What a perfect fit. Will Power, the championship ring, everyone. Congratulations. Hey, Will, we're going to have you hang by the trophy because you get to touch that in just a moment. It is yours once again. For the presentation of the Astor Cup to the 2022 champion, let's bring in Kaz Nishiyata, Senior Vice President, NTT Data Corporation, and also Mark Miles, the President and CEO of Penske Entertainment Corp. Mark, I'll let you do the honors to now the 2-time champion.
Thanks, Marty. Let me start, though, by saying how thrilled we were to have this race here in this great place for the finale, deciding the championship for what, the 17th straight time what a great example for fans of why IndyCar is such fabulous racing. We want to thank everybody at NBC. We want to thank all of our sponsors, all of our promoters. I want to thank Roger Penske for his investment and his leadership, and all the people at Penske Entertainment. And we want to thank all our sponsors, and principal among them is NTT, and it's a pleasure to be able to ask for a little help. Kaz, can you help present the trophy to our champion? Will Power.
It's been 8 years since you got to touch that trophy. A little heavier than you remember?
Yeah, no, it's been way too long, but what a team effort. What a team. There wasn't a team that could touch us this year. So I cannot thank Verizon enough. I cannot thank Chevy enough, and Penske, you know, Roger and Kathy Penske, and Tim Cindric for doing such a phenomenal job with all 3 cars. And man, you don't get years like this very often, so I'm going to really soak this in.
What a season for Will Power. You know, yesterday Diffie told me, I don't have 5 more years in the race car. Maybe he would have reconsidered that after this moment. Will Power now a 2-time IndyCar champion.
Oh, and that smile says it all, which was so different to the stressed face that we had on the pre-race show, but it's all so worth it. The end of that season coming to the highest point for Will Power.
You know, for me, it's the quote Roger Penske just gave us talking to Will Power at the finish there. You were so calm under pressure. A cool cucumber, and I think that summarizes Will Power's season. A total shift in mental approach. It paid off in the ultimate way.
Some big wrenches thrown in their plans throughout the course of the season, but he delivered, and his team delivered every single time they needed to. Just incredible. Congrats to Will Power and Team Penske.
And a quick reminder that there's more coming up on Peacock. Yes, we'll still have more post-race coverage on Peacock for you, though. So the year that kicked off in traditional style on the streets of St. Petersburg and wraps up here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. A return to Toronto and a return to a pack house at the Indianapolis 500. A new Indy 500 winner, but a returning NTT IndyCar Series champion. We want to say thanks for joining us for the NTT IndyCar Series Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Congrats to both the winners. Don't forget, airing now on USA is NASCAR Cup from Kansas. Coming up next, it's your local news, except on the West Coast. Championship weekend here on the Monterey Peninsula. And no longer do we talk about who could possibly be crowned. We know, because he has just been crowned. That's Will Power of Team Penske. There he is here up on today's podium for his 3rd place finish in the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. In the end, he wins by 16 points over his teammate, Joseph Newgarden, in what turned out to be a really intriguing race as far as Power leading from the front, but having to ultimately defend with Joseph Newgarden coming from behind, from 25th to 2nd. And let's talk about the 3rd Team Penske member, Scott McLaughlin. He had a storming drive at the end to vault himself up to 4th in the championship.
It's a 6th place finish today on the track for Scott McLaughlin, and man, there were some exciting moments out there in traffic for you at the end. So just walk me through your race, and then we can talk about the championship battle.
Yeah, look, it was wild. You know, the race was sort of up and down for us because he's sort of doing the best job he can for the team, covering what we needed to cover, and then at the end of the last stint was like, all right, we're good now, let's just go. And I was able to really hustle and bring the tyres up well and pass a few cars and come off good on some, bad on others, but thankfully we got through and we finished 4th in the championship.
I know you had high expectations for yourself this 2nd year in IndyCar. You won races, you consistently ran up front, you were in contention for the championship. Yeah. But how would you evaluate it, and what do you expect of yourself next year?
No, look, it's been a dream come true to win races in the IndyCar Series. All my guys on the XPEL Chevy have been fantastic. All our partners all year have been great with me. People were stuck by me. You know, it was easy to sort of drop me last year and think that I was like a nobody, or maybe I'm out of my depth, but you know, you got to have that self-belief and just believe that you can get back to the top and believe that you can do it and combat against these guys and girls. And yeah, really proud of everyone at the team. Congrats to Will in the championship. You know, that was our goal all weekend, Team Penske Championship. We got it done, and super proud for Roger and all that Verizon crew.
Well done this year. We'll see you in St. Pete.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Cheers.
Marcus Ericsson was one of those that was very much in the championship chase today. It was going to take a long shot. Unfortunately, it doesn't get done, and it looked like you had a pretty eventful finish to this race.
Yeah, it was a tough race. We fought hard out there, gave everything, but just not good enough. Yeah, so very disappointing end to the season, to be honest. You know, fall back to 6th in the championship was very bad, so just very disappointed. But proud of the 8-car group and the Ganassi. You know, they've done a tremendous job all year and again today, so big thanks to them. And congrats, of course, to Alex to the win today.
I know it's not a super mood right now, but maybe tomorrow when you wake up, you'll still recall you won this year's Indianapolis 500. As you said, no matter what happened today, it was going to be a good season.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm proud of that, but I'm just so disappointed with the end of it. You know, we're in the hunt for a championship and end up 6th in the championship, so that's just not good enough. So.
Thank you, Marcus. We'll watch for him to come back strong next year in 2023.
So we've crowned the overall champion. How about the Rookie of the Year, driving the people-ready Honda for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, and guess what? Christian Lundgaard led the Rookie of the Year standings, fellas, for the entire year. He completes the sweep.
Totally deserving of this championship, especially given the competition that he had to beat. I mean, coming into this, so many, including myself, picked Kyle Kirkwood to walk away with the Rookie Championship. He's not even in the top 4 there. Lundgaard getting it done. Malukas was fantastic. Callum Ilott qualified on the front row in the final race. Devlin DeFrancesco had a lot of bright spots, ran in the top 10 for much of today. So probably the most competitive rookie class in history. And Dylan, he just did such a great job, fully deserving.
Here with the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series Rookie of the Year and the 1982 NTT IndyCar Series Rookie of the Year, co-owner Bobby Rahal and Christian Lundgaard, who is the new Rookie of the Year. So we'll start with Christian, 5th place finish today. Hard-fought battle all year long. Is this mission accomplished for you at the start of the year? You wanted to get Rookie of the Year, and now you've done it.
I mean, for sure, it was the goal. But the ultimate goal was to win the actual championship. We weren't competitive enough in the beginning of the season. We bounced back in the second half of the season, and it was a tight battle with David, you know, getting the podium at the road course, and he got a podium at Gateway, and it was the same podium finish, so we kind of kept the battle going into the last event, which was I think cool for the fans, but we got it in the end.
Well done. Bobby, how about this young man? He's been so impressive this year, and I think the future is bright.
Oh, no question about that. We're super pleased. You know, we felt that Christian could do it. Not just, you know, frankly, not just be Rookie of the Year, but win races. And he was very close on a couple of occasions. We did have a tough first half of the year, but you know, he and his team didn't give up, and everybody just kept working hard. So I mean, this was a tough Rookie of the Year championship year. I mean, most times you don't get a couple of guys, but we had 3 or 4 rookies that were really genuine contenders. And so for Christian to win it really means something, and we can't wait for the future. We think there's a lot of great things to come.
Well done to you both, and a great effort all year long from the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan group, and Christian Lundgaard, your 2022 Rookie of the Year.
Well, the first full season in IndyCar is complete now for Romain Grosjean. We thought you might have something for everybody at the end. You'd been running 4th, and you had that set of sticker reds. That was a long stint. How was that?
Yeah, touched too long, I would say. At the end, we having the yellow in the middle of the race didn't help us because we had another 5 laps on the black at that moment. So we wanted to make the last stint as short as we could. After last year, I was gambling the same finish, you know, overtaking a lot of cars, but the red didn't last as long as they did last year. So we tried. I think really the positive the weekend is that I got a really good feel on the car now, and I can race it. So I think that's really what matters today. And that we're able to look after the tires more than the others. And I can't wait for 2023.
It's still a 7th place finish today, so that's more than just respectable. Now with a full season under your belt, you mentioned you're looking forward to 2023. What's possible?
Yeah, I think now we have a road course, a straight course, and an oval package that I like. We've been working a lot on the dampers, get me a feel. Olivier is going to do a lot of work during the winter. We know exactly what I like and what I don't like, and this year it's been a bit hard to find out exactly what I needed from the car, but we did it in Nashville on a street package, we did it here on the road course package, and we did it in Iowa on an oval package. So I'm looking forward to next year.
We are too. Thank you, Romain.
Thanks.
It's a 4th place finish in the season finale today for Felix Rosenqvist, and man, I know it's a weird situation for you right now. You're not sure exactly what you're going to do or where you're going to be, at least publicly. So was this the kind of run that you needed and you wanted to have to finish off the year and prove that you belong in IndyCar?
It never hurts. I don't think it really matters at this point, but no, for sure we want to end on a high. It's always nice to end the season with a good result. A little bit bummed I didn't get the podium. I was chasing Will there. I knew he was, if I got to him, he was probably not going to make it too hard because he didn't need to with the points. But yeah, big congrats to him. Congrats to Alex for winning, and good job by the team. That was a mega race. I think we did some really good changes overnight to attack tire dag, and seemed to really pay off. It was that first stint really put us in the game, and I think we were a little bit weak after the safety car, but otherwise we're really strong all race. So big thanks to all the group.
All right, Rosenqvist ends the year with the top 5 here at Laguna.
A really nice way to finish. Of course, this is where everybody would like to be and like to finish, but that was strong for Felix Rosenqvist. Hinch, it's the end of your first full season here on NBC Sports, and as we pop up the unofficial results, the folks on Peacock can read that. Want to hear your closing thoughts on the season.
Oh man, what an incredible year on track, a championship battle, 5 drivers coming down to the last race, closest we've seen in a long time. It made our job, I think, really easy up here in the booth and a lot of fun, and I can't thank Townsend, Lee, yourself, everybody on the NBC crew and the Peacock crew for helping me transition into this new role. It's been an absolute blast, and I also cannot wait for 2023.
You made it look easy, Hinch. Well done. Thanks for keeping us on our toes. And for me, Diff, it's just, wow, talent throughout the field in IndyCar. And for this 41-year-old to show everybody else what it takes to be the all-time pole sitter this season, a 2-time champion. He'll be coming back next year with that whole crew. They're going to be tough to beat, along with the rest of the top 5 championship drivers. Really no changes in that mix. How do you topple the might, the strength at the top of the IndyCar championship? You're going to really have to have a great season. Just think about guys like Colton Herta and Alexander Rossi that had some great high points. They're 9th and 10th in the championship. So it is deep, it's tough, and getting tougher.
And have a look at that banner there. Team Penske celebrating 42 championships. Again, thanks so much for your participation, folks, all throughout the year on NBC Network Television, here on Peacock and on USA. It has been a highly memorable NTT IndyCar Series season. We say well done, Will Power, and we'll see you next year.